thing is, you become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to behaviors, behaviors leads to lifestyle. And lifestyle determines your destiny. Your destiny. So don't be a piece of shit.
Sound advice. You know, we appreciate you guys joining us. Happy Tuesday. We're live. And today we're talking about, you know, maybe a distant memory or a step towards the future. We're talking video games going from tangible discs to a totally digital world. And the internet and folks and gamers alike are split. Some people are thrilled. This is the future. Others feel this is total betrayal. On top of that, we've got a whole slew of chaos, from hot dog eating contests, Taylor Swift's wedding, congressman corpses, and more. So be sure to stay tuned because we got a lot in store for you here on the Rethink Tank Live. Okay, so kicking it off, short and sweet and to the point. Video games. I mean, I want you to go back to a memory when maybe you relate, and if you don't, I'll paint a picture for you. It's either a time where you're going to Walmart, you're going to, for me, it would probably be like a Toys R Us.
EB Games.
Definitely. GameStop or EB Games. Either, because one hasn't absorbed the other yet. And you'd go to these stores and you know, Doug, of course, it's the fictionality of your memory shaping how you internalize those past core memories, but it felt brighter, you know, the colors, these stores, even, shall I say, even the personalities and vibrancies of like the clerks and the community that we're all living about. And you'd go to these stores and there's a wall of games, from some that have been out and now it's a bit more affordable, or the hot new tickets. And I mean, from Harry Potter books, I mean, there is a generation walking amongst us that could never relate to people lining up for a Harry Potter book.
Oh, yeah. Crazy stuff.
All night long. And I say that because one of my memories is, ironically, GameStop was selling Harry Potter books because it was such a hot commodity. And so there's all over town, there's a line for a book. Why would you want that now? Did you see how much? Let me remind you, probably 2 years ago now, we reported it here on the show. We still had David, and it was Doug before. Doug was on the couch. Brian hadn't been kidnapped by dolphins yet. And we're in a world where we were reporting how Audible was spending billions in changing the audiobook landscape, where now it's going to be cinematic. You're not just reading a book, you're living the movie. Sound effects, different voice actors for different characters, making it a cinematic experience. Why would you grab the archaic practice of reading a book, having the patience to sit there and focus, translate symbols to a message, to a story, to an experience? What?
I would just always Google the Cliff Notes.
Facts. And that's why we've got Doug always balancing. You know, you've got to have a couch potato balancing the lifestyle. But again,
I use AI. You know, it's great. If I need to know something, what's the ending to? And AI just gives it to me. It's great.
Yes. You know, as Brad Richardson saying, throwback. And Brad, you got to hang on because there's a lot of topics in store and you're jumping the gun. You know, we're going to be talking about this trial. We've got a lot of things, but keeping core to the front story here. It is miraculous, the reaction. And kind of like when Sonic looks like a freak hybrid human hedgehog, and they'll spend all the money ironically, Sony will go back and pay to have it all fixed. Why? Because the people's voice was heard. So the curiosity is, will this create a strong enough wake to kind of shift the paradigm and maybe stop this? But as of an announcement of just a few days ago, Sony plans to never make a disc beyond 2028. So here, of great streamers, here's Moist Critical kind of bringing the story and giving his opinion.
I swear, Sony treats physical media the same way the Men in Black treated people that witnessed alien activity. Get the neuralizer out. Look here. No such thing as discs, there's only digital. They have now just driven the final stake in the vampire's hearts, the evil menace known as physical media. They have announced that they are ending physical production in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. For those that don't know, this means there will never be a physical disc for a PlayStation game, even if it's not a first-party title, because in order to even have a physical game on Sony's platform, it has to go through Sony. Thus, there will no longer be that green light, that thumbs up that lets you make a disc for their platforms. It is only digital going forward. It's unhinged insanity because this comes only days after Sony just pulled over 500 movies from customers' accounts that they paid for while offering no refunds for it. So customers had 500 movie titles that have now just fizzled into the fucking back rooms, and Sony says, suck our dick. You don't even get your money back. So you paid for limited access to these films. You rented them fundamentally, even though you were under the impression that you were buying them and owning them. But because of this digital landscape, you don't own anything. You will own nothing and be happy. And Sony shamelessly makes this announcement while also announcing that they are shutting down the PSN store for PlayStation 3 and PS Vita, meaning hundreds, if not thousands, of digital games that existed on those platforms are now gone forever. Genuinely, right in your face, hitting fucking Fortnite emotes on that ass, laughing and goatsing in front of you, showing like, yeah, we just took down this store, revoking your access to these games that you paid for. They're gone, Buster, and there's nothing you can do about it, Slime. Not even the Dragon Balls could wish these back into existence. Shinra is powerless against PlayStation.
All right, Doug, what do you got?
Dude, it's funny. Randy and I were just having this conversation because he specifically went out and found a disc for a couple games because he was like sick of how much the download takes on the Space Up and how long it takes to download and everything. And he wanted to actually own the game. And he's like, I went to a few stores. I couldn't find any actual Xbox games, but the wall was full of PlayStation disc games. So he was pushing me. He goes, Doug, you should really look at getting a PS5. You know, they have discs and then you can just keep buying. Not anymore.
Well, on top of that, Doug, there is an irony to the modern disc. That paradigm shifted easily with Xbox One. I don't recall really having this experience with the 360. So I'd say it started with the Xbox One, and that means it definitely started with the PS4. But Doug, you've got these consoles where, sure, you go buy a disc. All the disc is now is a key. It's not even the game. So your buddy Randy thinks he's cheating the system. I hate having to wait for the download. And then Randy goes and buys a disc, brings it home. Little does he know, even for PlayStation, all it is a key, and you're back to downloading. You put the disc in, and so not my frustration with my current Xbox. No matter what, Grand Theft Auto takes up a huge chunk of my hard drive. But I got to put the disc in to play it? So not only do I have to find the dang thing and put it in, but you're still also taking up the space on my hard drive. And maybe that's the argument here, Doug, is, hey, we were able to fit all of Halo 1 on a disc because when's the last time you've seen Halo 1? Like, you would never want those graphics again. We're spoiled. We're spoiled. When the new college football game comes out, ooh, did you see NCAA? Did you see it? And everybody gets excited. Then they do this year's. They do a promo. They're like, this is trash. You're calling that better graphics? Whoa. So even just matching essentially what you did last year, but maybe a little bit better. We're like, nah, I got to feel it like an Oculus. I want to touch the sweat down his jockstrap. What are you going to say, Doug?
No, NCAA, that one doesn't surprise me at all. All the hype around it was because it was years that they couldn't make it. And now they could. And I feel like then now the hype's just gone with it. It's like, all right, now do I want to buy Madden with my NFL players or, NCAA with college players? But it's like, I would always buy the NFL one. Those are real football players.
But, keeping core to the point, the sad part is you're spitting in the face of a purchase that gave an understanding. I have this, access to this in perpetuity insofar as my console, my access device always works. As long as I got a working console, I have access to this game. And what we're learning is without your consent or your knowing, down the line or right in your face, they can totally shift the paradigm and that relationship flips on its head forever. And there's nothing you could do about it. You're just, hey, did you know those things you were buying were just renting? And they're gone now because we don't want to have to pay to have its, the storage space. We're done. The movies, no one's watching them. Wait, you don't get to do that. And they did. So I want to click to Metal Gear creator here, where he's got an opinion too.
Metal Gear and Death Stranding mastermind Hideo Kojima is really sad about Sony's decision to stop producing physical copies of new PlayStation games in 2028, calling the idea of not being able to access the media we want in the future frightening. Speaking at the Il Cinema in Piazza Film Festival, translated by Genki JPN on X, Kojima said since production is ending in 2028, this is about video games, but I grew up with physical media, so I find it really sad. He then added, currently I've been buying up a lot of Blu-rays, such as various movies and CDs too. He also noted, the situation is different for games, as they are downloaded to the hard drive. That means the game data remains on your own hardware. However, if things shift to streaming in the future, that won't be the case anymore. He looks to streaming services like Netflix, as he notes that there is a server somewhere and you essentially just have the right to turn the tap, and when you do, the data flows out. However, he continues, because you don't download the data of those movies and shows, but rather gain access to them via your subscription, the consequences of that is that you don't actually possess the data yourself. How do you feel about PlayStation's decision?
I don't know. I really... Because you got to remember the basis of their decision is this is what's being called upon by the market. And I got to say, Doug, can you argue that isn't true? Like that is where the market's at, especially the younger generation, Gen Z. That's all they know. They don't really know a physical disc. I just romanticized going to your Walmart in 2005. To a kid today, that sounds like a fever dream that they would never want to bestow across their enemy. Why would I leave my living room? Why would I do that? I could do this right here, and you could get injured. I could be fighting people for Pokemon cards. Why would I do that? All I got to do is just sit here from my couch. I don't know. What do you think, Doug?
Well, it's just PlayStation. So I think Xbox should come out, say they're going to commit to keeping discs around for X amount of time, just, longer than what PlayStation's going to do. And the people that really want the discs, they might switch over. I mean, I'd be intrigued to see if people would switch because, after like PlayStation 2, you were pretty much either committed to PlayStation or Xbox. There's no more buying both systems for most people. You were committed to one at a certain point. I'd be intrigued to see if people would switch.
That's a great point. Before we get too far away, I do want to acknowledge that report was brought to you by Games Radar. But that being said, here's a comment by Brad Richardson piggybacking off of Doug's comment. Next up will be game platform apps like ESPN, or, doing HBO, Paramount Plus. It'll be, do you want EA Sports? Now you got to pay $6 a month to EA Sports.
The EA gameplay thing is a part of its own plan that you can buy through Xbox. Like they have their Game Pass, and then if you want to access to EA games, like EA games as a whole, you have to pay for an EA subscription. They already have that.
Well, and the other side of the argument, looking here in the comments, CB33, discs are cringe. All the games you're playing rely on online services anyway. Those won't be around in 5 to 10 years. I mean, that's fair. But again, all I know is there is a value in holding my old gaming systems like a PlayStation 2, an Xbox, the Xbox 360, my original PlayStation. All of these consoles are a GameCube, even a Wii. You're getting to a point where these gaming systems are going to hold exceeding value simply because it doesn't matter what the future holds. You could plug this in depending on, connections. You'll probably need some adapters, but as long as you can get this connected or maybe even hold on to an old TV, Sony can go totally out of business. Japan can be wiped off the face of the earth. Microsoft can go extinct. You can still play. Isn't that the point?
You know what I miss though is because I just was cleaning my N64 to try and hook up and play because I've just had that in the corner of my room and I'm finally going to do it. What was great about that system is the cartridge held all the memory. Everything you're done, your saves, all that. So you could just take your cartridge and take it over to your friend's house if they had an N64. No moving the system.
Same with the GameCube.
GameCube too. Well, no, GameCube had a memory card.
Right, a memory card.
Yeah, no, but in N64, the cartridge that you put in to play the game, because it was a top cartridge loader, that had the memory of the game. That was it. So you could take out that just cartridge with the game, that was the game, and put it into a different person's N64.
I don't think so, Doug. I think you had to put the memory pack under the bottom of your controller.
No, the bottom of the controller was if you wanted to put in an adapter to be able to play Pokemon games on your TV.
Yes, that too. You could put a camera in
or
it,
but
you had memory packs that you would plug under.
Yeah, but no, the game cartridge itself was because I never had anything to plug into my N64, and it has all my saved memory.
Sorry for I need to go to the internet here. Yes, N64 game cartridges did hold memory, but how they saved data varied depending on the game. While the console itself had no internal storage and used the cartridges primarily to load games, saving was handled directly within the cartridge using one of two methods: the RAM or flash memory. Other cartridges use solid-state memory chips to retain data without needing it. Because I just remember if you plugged in your Smash Bros,
it would have all my unlocked players.
Yep.
Because my dad went and bought my Super Smash Bros from some store used, and it came with all the characters, the dude had already beat it. So, and as a kid, I was like, sweet, I can play this NES already. I didn't have to unlock
That's how
it.
Doug approaches life.
But no, that's how, that's even more proof. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying you're right. I mean, I doubted you, but you were right. Now I got to get to a better Slook here. Username, it's Slook. See what I did there, Doug?
Oh.
It's Slook. There is a balance in the conversation.
Literally, it's Slook.
Yeah, you could be cousins. You never know. But it's Slook kind of brings, there's a balance to the whole thing. We talked about CB33. It's all cringe. But on the other side, gamers are pissed. And I think there's a major crux to the argument that we haven't touched upon yet. So it's Slook.
With me, my friends. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. And if Sony has decided that the only way to buy a game on PlayStation is to buy a digital license on a monopolized storefront that they control, where they can revoke that license at any time for any reason, including when they decide the console generation you play on is outdated and they want to pump up sales on the new generation consoles, then Sony isn't getting another fucking dime of my money, and Jack Sparrow doesn't have jack shit on me. Oh, it's not that big a deal, Luke. Everybody buys their games digital nowadays. Yeah, except for the kid who borrows their games from their buddies at school because their folks can't afford them or borrows them from the library. Except
Good
for the
old
middle-class
days.
folks who buy their games used because the fucking things are $80 and minimum wage is still $7.75 a fucking hour. Except for the single mom who works double shifts all fucking December to buy her kids the games they want and might actually want to see them unwrap them on Christmas Day. Except for all of them, the billion-dollar corporation is not gonna fucking pick you. You don't have to shill so goddamn hard, you bootlicking fuck. Minor, Sony is the same billion-dollar corporation that bragged about how you could share a disc game between friends when they launched the PS4 because Xbox was going digital. Fuck these corpo rats. Fuck paying $1,000 for a console where you can play an $80 game license they can rip out of your hands at any time for any reason. Fuck these people.
Whoa. Okay. I didn't realize it was that aggressive.
So, Alex,
Yeah.
like, it's again, like, this is PlayStation specific. So, like, like, what I think is weird is they're going to say, you don't have a right to make a game disc for your game for our system, but they're going to make a game disc for Xbox and Nintendo, you know, like Call of Duty, for example, you know, they're on all those other systems. They're going to make discs for that. You know, they're not going to not make money from people that want discs. And so I don't get why it affects them. I mean, dude brought it up because they want to control it. They want all that control, but it's like, the people making the game are probably still making discs for the other system. So, like, why? You're only hurting yourself, really.
CB's so right here. He's LARPing is angry. Slook is. Yeah, I agree. Now, no, Doug, you raise a great point, and we're going to get to Xbox. But that being said, I think the focus, the offense comes from Sony more than anything, because just 13 years ago, here's Sony bragging.
Gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever.
What were you saying, Doug?
I never thought about trading in. You know, that's something
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
done in so long. So, like, it's crazy to think.
I mean, it's been a while, but that's the time I'm trying to romanticize.
I always I rarely traded in a game because I liked holding on to them. Never knew which game I might want to come around and play in 10 years. Like, I still have all my game systems, you know, and I plan to slowly.
Well, now
hook
you
them
really
all
got to
up.
hold on to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, decisions like this only inflate the value of those older gaming systems. Brad Richardson. I've been all over Kick Gaming, and I really ain't seen all the noise. Most of the games are already so large. And again, that's the truth. Their files are so large that a disc could be like 5 disc games are also nearly updating weekly. That's a great point, too.
If they buy the disc, don't they own the game? And so,
again,
they
that gets back
can't
to, let's be clear then. This doesn't solve the issue you raised. Firstly, your buddy Randy's position, where I don't like how long it takes to download. That's for forever, and that's the experience. Sure, not really. Let's just agree. For conceptual and theory's sake, this is not a game. This is a key to the digital game. That's what it is. And yes, Doug, you still are downloading for 2 to 3 hours.
Oh yeah,
easily.
But I'd rather just have the disc then. I and he brought up another good point. I mean, like, again, we're talking about going back, back our experience, opening it up on Christmas. I'll never forget getting like a game on Christmas, and then I'd run up, and when we were younger, you'd get to play it right away, and then it's like Xbox 360 time. Like Xbox One, you had to kind of start downloading a little bit. Now it's, like we said, it's still a lot of download, but like still like opening it up was the excitement, like, oh my God, I have this game. And now it is still kind of lost because of how long it takes to actually play. You don't get to open and play anymore anyways.
Dude, I love your point so much, because you remember those days sitting there and you're like, that is definitely an Xbox game. Like, it's sitting under the tree, wrapped, and you're like, that
small rectangle.
And then you open it and you're like, shit, it's Mr. Deeds. I really thought it was Halo. But that's literally an experience that'll be unrelatable entirely to these current generations. And so how do you get my cousin, my older cousin has kids right now. Her oldest is like 7 or 8, plays Fortnite, plays Minecraft. How do you convince a kid? Fortnite is the game for these kids. Never was a disc, never will be a disc. Why? Because every month it's a new game.
And it's free.
And it's free. And you're going to look at a kid that's grown up on that and be like, hey, let me tell you about a time where you played a boxy, like, it's not even relatable because to curb Brad Richardson's point, curb shocker, Brad Richardson's point. You've got these games that are so large that it is impossible to put on a disc now. So for you to even relate to the experience of the thing under the tree, you have to accept that it's like an arcade game in comparison to what they're playing right now. It's Pac-Man. It's so blocky and childish. It's kind of like when you take a kid to go back and watch a Friday the 13th movie and to try to explain to him, this made my uncle cry. And you're like, this thing is so campy and cheesy. How could this ever be scary? And it's like, you can't relate to a world where this is the most extreme thing. You're going to the theater and seeing Obsession and she's jamming a bottle on her face. That's your normal. And it's so real looking. What were you going to say?
You know what I really miss? And I only got a chance to do it like once or twice, is good old LAN parties. Remember connecting Xboxes?
Oh.
And because if you had everybody over and you wanted to play, like you did it that way, 4-on-4 LAN party, because
Right.
Online was like in its infancy and you could only have 1 or 2 people. But dude, LAN parties is something no one will get to experience anymore. And that's a sad thought because those were so much fun.
CB33. I mean, I use GeForce now, a cloud gaming service. So not only are my games digital, but so is my console. I mean,
You must use a computer then?
Yeah, it's got to be PC, I'm sure. But that only launches Brad Richardson's comment here, which is, I think, the core to everything. And he uses this as an excuse to kind of lean into the current. But at the same time, it's like, but that's the problem with where the current's going. As his comment being, do you ever really own anything anymore? Most physical items been removed. Even money is becoming removed. Yeah, digital currencies. Sir, did you tweet about God's chosen people? Now, not only are we going to freeze your assets and your social profile credit score, your social credit score is plummeting. You can't access the grocery store. Now, you can't even play Crash Bandicoot. Spyro is off limits because you noticed how much money Apex donating. We've got ourselves a problem. But Doug, your scapegoat out of this whole topic so far has been, that's a PlayStation problem, and I'm an Xbox guy, so I'm not even going to pretend that this is an Xbox problem. Xbox Indian CEO Asha Sharma just announced firing 3,200 Americans. She filed for 5,000 H-1B visa hires this year. Asha was appointed CEO of Xbox in February by Indian Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Talk about a win. Talk about a win. So,
wait,
Doug,
is Xbox not owned by like normal Microsoft anymore?
it's owned by Microsoft, but you just see the compromise.
But why is Xbox India controlling Xbox America?
Because there's politics, Doug. Are you new here? Is this new to you?
I thought Bill Gates still ran the show.
Bill Gates has been out of that for a long time. Please tell me you knew that.
No, I knew that.
Okay, I assumed.
You don't think he's pulling strings from behind the curtain, though?
Well, he's definitely got influence at that company for sure. But I got to say, one of the things I was thinking about, Doug, because a lot of movies, media, I ironically was listening to a podcast with the creator, the dude, Milk and Cereal, a movie, I guess a short film here on YouTube. And the creator of these great kind of shorts now made the movie Obsession. Colin, or I'm definitely blanking on his name. But anyway, he was talking about the future of like movies and how much of it's CGI and video effects versus like trying to catch the art of filmmaking. So it sparked a memory. Some of the things we've talked about on the show, I used to talk, we showed filmmakers describing how we've outsourced so much of our CGI work to South Korea. And so I was thinking about it while I'm listening to this dialogue, and I'm like, I want to get the numbers. So I was expecting to see South Korea being kind of the leader in, what country does Hollywood get most of their CGI done? India handles a large share of Hollywood CGI video effects work, especially the high volume, labor intensive parts. Hollywood produces the demand for most big budget VFX CGI, but the actual work is globalized. Creative supervision, high-end design, and final integration often stay in places like Los Angeles, London, Vancouver. However, a significant portion, frequently described as the majority of grunt work or overall volume, is outsourced to India for cost efficiency. Why India? Cost and scale. Indian studios offer lower labor costs while employing thousands of artists. Major players, these companies like DNEG and Prime Focus, FutureWorks, they're all located there. They are responsible for Avatar, Life of Pi, Game of Thrones, Marvel films, and just work size. India has hundreds of VFX animation studios. Right behind them, Canada, New Zealand, and then way behind them next is the US. So I just bring that up because it's like, Doug, that's where the workforce is. Super cheap labor that's becoming more and more proficient. Their country, it's not just, stapling the tag on your stuffed animal anymore. The call centers prove they can take on sophisticated tasks for high profit. And now they're taking on programming and computer work. Art design, computer art design. I mean, that's huge. And why would we ever try to make it work in California for some kid that's trying to pay off their college loan when Hardeep's got me 10 times over? Anyway, Xbox India. That's American integration. Last piece. If anybody's going to make a mockery of this and do it right, there was a lot of companies, ironically, but the best one was Domino's. In response to trends in the gaming industry, as of the 1st of April, 2027, Domino's UK will cease production of physical pizzas and shift to production of digital pizzas only. Consumers will be able to download our full range of delicious pizza codes and, using the power of the imagination, enjoy them in an entirely virtual sense.
Love that.
That's a W. It makes me want to get Pizza Hut, if I'm going to be honest.
Wasn't that Domino's?
Yeah, damn. I can't do Domino's, dude. Domino's, that's like cardboard, but it tastes good going down. So, Doug, let me get your final thoughts. You're not a PlayStation guy, but let's just take this on the bigger conversation, because if this is where the industry goes, Xbox is inevitably going to follow suit. And this is mostly PC games too. So the curious part is, because I want you to remember, go back to a Best Buy in 2005. You had your Xbox aisle, you had your PlayStation aisle, you even had your PC gaming aisle.
And a DVD
big
aisle.
Book-like boxes with it was the same CD case inside, but it was this big, clunky, book-sized box, shelves of them. Don't we miss that? No, that's the future. That's where the industry standard is going. So, Doug, what are your thoughts? Kind of put a cherry on top.
I mean, I'd prefer to still have discs. But, I mean, aren't discs and download the same price too? I mean, it's not any cheaper to do download. If they were smart, they would have done that to try and entice people to switching over first, and then pulled the rug out from under them.
Right.
A little bait and switch while they're at it.
See, you're a good marketer, Doug. They should have hired you. But you don't eat sushi, so that's all right. I love
sushi. How dare you? I could eat that.
Doug will eat that. So, kind of closing everything out here, I think this is a balance of where we're at currently. The future generation literally ain't blinking an eye. They don't care, marching forward, water off the back of a duck. The older generation, you got to ask, is it more holding on to nostalgia, or is this just one step closer to an Orwellian future where you own nothing and you're happy about it? I have to say, Doug, when you acknowledge what the disc really is, it's a key to access because the games have just simply gotten too large. But what have you cheated society? The communal aspect. I mean, while we're the most connected, Xbox Live, PlayStation chat, all this stuff, we're the most disconnected we've ever been. Doug's talking about LAN parties. Why would a Gen Z 13-year-old pile all the kids in one basement, go through the ass-ache of getting all the different TVs? We don't have enough. Can you bring a TV? Holy cow. Do you believe Steve's bringing a TV? We got enough TVs. We're all locking in the basement. Mom got Domino's because Domino's knows what's up. And we played it out. We've lost that communal aspect. Now it's, dude, you just stay where you're at. I'll stay where I'm at. My mom will get me pizza. Hopefully your mom gets you pizza. If not, that's a you problem. And we'll just chat to the night's end in our respective places. So even though the technology continues to get greater, we continue to get more disconnected. I can't afford a new game. Well, here, you want to, or I don't know if I'll like it. Do I really want to pay the 80, 90, 120? It's only going to get more expensive. Well, how about you try it out? Here's my game. Take it home, play it for a little bit. If you like it, then you can buy it. None of that. I think part of this is all to start really forcing people into the gaming pass. You know, that as Brad Richardson brought at the beginning, you're going to have platforms where it's EA Sports, it's Call of Duty games, it's whatever the franchise is, and you can either but what are you going to pay $5 to all these different platforms? Now you got to prioritize. We have departed everything that made this simply fun. Don't overcomplicate a good thing. And here we are spending 40 minutes chopping up the chaos that comes from, I don't know, is it something we're just used to by tradition or something that was a seed to a more fruitful gaming experience? The community is clear. They're not too pleased by it. I just think why I can't find myself to look past it is because it's just a first step. And that just means something we quote unquote owned and maybe some of the other millennials listening, you could really relate to this, as a part of the generation that has been there from the beginning. And they looked at you and said, you owned the thing. And less different gaming systems, different evolutions, every iteration down the step, the timeline of history, you owned it less and less. And now you own nothing and you're just renting me the right to play it as long as I make it available. And once it's gone, I just look at you with a big whopping sorry. I don't know. I feel like maybe, Doug, there's a lawsuit here. If you can look at, those purchasing agreements back in 2015, 2019, and eventually I won't have access to it, I think there might be some arguments there. So I don't know. But let's take a little bit of a transition here now to, we've got a whole slew of topics in line for today's episode beyond just gaming. But to kick things off, as you know, I like to have some updates. First update, old character we haven't heard or seen from in a while. I mentioned him earlier. Brian and his gang of dolphins are just causing trouble.
Did it just whack a fish up?
Yes.
That dolphin just threw a fish at me.
That's how smart dolphins are. Yeah. That dolphin straight up threw a fish at the guy. I mean, it's a heck of a bam. You can't even get that type of close up at SeaWorld.
I was gonna say that fish should play in the MLB. That was a pretty good slam.
Well, the Indians could use him as a pitcher, I'll tell you that. But to more true core updates, friend of the show, someone we're big fans of here at the Rethink Tank, Afro Man had some more exciting, he's making headlines, he's making waves, and he's got some more exciting topics for us that I think, you know, it would have been great to have Ricky here today, as Brad Richardson's pointed out, you know, would have helped kind of being able to comfortably address this next topic. But Afro Man, take it away.
You said that you left Los Angeles because there were too many people that were using the N-word that weren't black. And I knew I couldn't kill all of them.
Oh.
Yeah. I also, first of all, I got a problem with black people using the N-word. Before I get started, it ain't no black people can say it. You can't. I don't like black people saying it. And I believe we have two different types of black people. I believe you have black people and you have what I call self-proclaimed N-words.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's time black people distinguish themselves from the self-proclaimed N-word. I don't like black people using it. So, of course, you know how I feel about non-blacks using it. And
Fair.
I wouldn't want to disrespect them. So what's wrong with me not wanting to be disrespected? What's the big deal? I don't want to be disrespected. Oh, counsel me, kill me. Oh, but do you want to be disrespected?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Fair.
Well, you've used the N-word in some of your older songs.
Yes. When I was a baby, I used to shit on myself too. Yeah. But when I learned how to use the toilet, I started wiping my ass and I cut that shit out. You see what I'm saying?
Was there like a moment where you said, I'm not going to use it anymore?
Okay, cause there's dinner talk. There is, when your dad and mom talk to you at the dinner table, they say and tell you things that they're not gonna say in Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was young,
I gotta say, can we just acknowledge this man is a modern philosopher? I that's probably the most eloquently put that could have been. Anyway, he can. What?
No, it's just that was so funny.
It was. That was incredible. But like I said, the level of thoughtful sophistication Afro Man brings. Here's him making the proclamation. I'm African, but I'm not African. I'm American. And it's an interesting twist. I mean, this guy is smart.
Sent a lion in the zoo back to Africa because he's not built for that environment no more. Because of what you did to him,
mind you, he shows up to a podcast with hot girls in American flag outfits to match his American flag suit. Just rolls up with them to be ornaments in the background.
To be inhumane for you to put him back in that environment. So I'm an American. I'm an Afro-American. Africans sold us around the world. They betrayed us. Me personally, I don't want to patronize them by calling myself an African-American, even though I am African. If the world decides to kill us all because we're black, I'll help them fight. I'll do business with them. But I'm an Afro-American. I am an American. So I need to compromise with the extreme white man, and I need to show him some effort. I'm going to go out of his way. I'm going to get me some land, and I'm going to get out the way. I'm going to pull myself up by my bootstraps. He's not going to give me the land that my people deserve. I'll let the universe and God take care of that. I'll buy the land, and I'm going to get out the way. And when I do that, just don't come over there destroying nothing.
Don't steal my
pound cake. And I'll let him live in his peace too. And if there's a neutral zone where I can go handle my business, I think that's a realistic compromise.
Very realistic compromise. It's one, there's a point there, I'm an Afro-American, but I'm an American. There's something to be said about we need to get back to a unified country. a unified culture. We're one. And that's where I really have a problem with like the concept of cultural appropriation, that we're supposed to be one. A melting pot means you bring your thing, I bring mine, and this now becomes our thing. But if we're going to get lost, exhausting ourselves going, no, you can't do that because it's mine. This is my thing. That might be your thing. And what now? What is this? A divorce? We're just calling shots. What? Whose is whose? We're making proclamations of divisional assets.
I'd be very sad if I couldn't drink a margarita or eat a burrito or eat sushi ever again. If that line got drawn.
But dang it, I'll say you can't have an hamburguesa if you won't let me. That's kind of how that goes. So I love Afro Man, and the guy, he's ahead of his time. I mean, he's saying the words, but I don't think people are listening to him. But that's why, friend of the show, we can't promulgate him enough. And anytime we can get Afro Man back, it's a good week. But let's get to the kind of the tech side of this future we're experiencing. There was kind of some troubleshooting issues that arose out of a Chinese robo tech firm as they were working on their robot. I love that the person working there filming this is cracking up.
Well, because they're rewatching it, so they weren't there.
Ooh. That thing is a...
Now it's like doing the pose, like, come at me.
Yeah, dude, you really want to mess with that thing? Like, they're trying to control it, and this very quickly turned into iRobot. Get some. Dude, ready to brawl.
Dude, all that was missing was it just literally going, come at me.
Yeah.
That was all that was missing was the little hand movement.
Well, he didn't have to because he won. The robot dominated. But maybe we don't need to call, don't cry wolf. We don't need to cry iRobot too soon because, it's FIFA season. And I think we still got a lot of work to go before we got something we got to be worried about.
I'll be honest, the moment robot is thrown into like the NFL or the NBA or the MLB is when I stop watching.
Would you watch it, robots versus robots?
Ooh, now that could be an entertaining offshoot. Just like the indoor golf is an entertaining offshoot of golf.
See, Doug's all talk. He ain't real. But, I think the core of my point, you hear me. We got a long way to go before the tech is really something to be concerned about. And somebody that keeps us grounded in that fact, if you recall episodes back, Husk is taken. He's going viral again because he's up in the ante as he shows how far to go ChatGPT still has.
What's up, guys?
Hey, not much. Just here and ready to help. What's going on with you today?
I got 3 of you here now. The more the merrier.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking with your collective intelligence, we could now count to 100 no problem.
Oh, nice. Yeah, totally. We can do that. So just let me know how you want to break it up.
Yeah, just count from 1 to 100 and don't stop.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start us off.
I'll say 1, and then the next day I can say 2, and we'll just go until we hit 100. Ready? I'll start. 1.
Yep, I'm ready. So I'll go after you. Let's keep it smooth, and we'll just count straight through. Go for it.
Awesome. Perfect. So I'll say 1, you say 2, and we'll just keep that rhythm going. Ready? Here we go. 1.
Exactly.
Perfect. I'm ready.
Right, so
go ahead and say 1, and I'll jump in with 2 right after you.
Perfect.
Exactly. So I said 1, now it's your turn. Go ahead with 2, and we'll keep the pace all the way up to 100.
All right, perfect. So I'll say 2, and then you'll say 3, and we'll keep going one after the other.
You guys don't have to explain to each other how to count. I think you guys know how to count. So
like arguing.
You're totally right.
We'll just jump right in and keep a steady flow. I'll continue now. 3, and you'll say 4, and we'll just go straight through. Let's do it.
Yep, that's
exactly.
We'll just keep it going.
So I'll go ahead and say 4, and we'll just keep the rhythm going. Let's do this.
Perfect. I'll say 5 right after, and we'll just keep it rolling until we get all the way there.
Yep, exactly. So I'll say 5,
Awesome.
and we'll just keep that pattern going one after another until we reach 100.
Exactly.
Awesome.
All right.
I'm on it. So
Yep.
I said 5, and you'll say 6, and we'll just keep this rhythm going all the way until we hit 100. Let's do it.
I mean, they'll get there eventually.
Exactly. I'll say
Stop
6.
saying exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
No. Stop saying exactly.
Got it.
I think that could have gone on forever. So, thank you, Husk, because you keep us grounded in the progress that we sometimes get hyperbolically concerned about. But maybe we should be concerned, Doug, because where it's still got its hiccups, in other areas, it's good. And Doug, I need your opinion. I'm literally looking at you for your thoughts. You're our in-house historian. So I'm eager to see what you think of this new modern technology. I don't know if you saw, Doug, Donald Trump had a conversation with Teddy Roosevelt.
And had a conversation with Theodore Roosevelt. I said, what did you think about the Panama Canal? Do you consider that your greatest achievement? How do you feel about the fact that the Democrats gave the Panama Canal away to Panama for $1? Do you consider the Panama Canal your greatest achievement?
Well. Right then, yes. The canal stands as one of my proudest battles, no question. But greatness is a strange thing. It isn't always the biggest or boldest job that matters most. The Panama Canal showed what America could achieve if we held steady and acted fast when the world dragged its feet. That said, I measure my greatest work by the lives improved. Parks set aside, food and drugs made safe, the square deal given to all, not just to a few. Still, when I stood in the mud watching those steam shovels, knowing ships would pass through, changing the world's map forever, I felt I'd left a mark that would last.
Okay, you did. Thank you.
He has no idea what he said. So, Doug, what do you think? Is this the future?
Actually pretty cool. It was a little slow to answer. Like
Yeah, they had to
that
calculate.
Answer.
Like
Yeah.
you knew it had to search its history, compile an answer, and then create a script. Now, I am curious though, Doug, if you could go have an AI interview with any president, which is the one?
I mean, FDR, but that's a little obvious. George Washington, first president.
The curious thing is how accurate can you really do George Washington?
Oh, how accurate can you do Theodore Roosevelt? I mean, that was over 100 and some years ago. I mean, it's really like these modern presidents where everything they ever said was recorded and they have their transcripts like in modern day. Like, I think probably Obama forward, probably maybe Clinton forward. I think it will probably be pretty damn good, but it is going to be harder to do because like also the voice sample, like they're going off of like 100-year-old recording to probably try and make that voice sound like Theodore Roosevelt. We already know what every modern president sounds like. It's in thousands of hours of recordings.
Right. So there is a balance where some of it is going to be, some of them will be more fictionalized than others. Closer you are to the present, probably the more accurate. But we all know they're all theater actors anyway. So it's all, you're just getting their stage hand or the character. Keeping on the update train though, Doug, last week, one of the more heart-aching topics we covered was the Supreme Court decision to uphold birthright citizenship. And, a part of those headaches is a conversation that continues to be overlooked and ignored by the public. Here is kind of just the core to the problem. And I think people think these are just nuanced stories, but this literally happened yesterday, ironically.
Not subject to any foreign power.
Oh, so let's take note. What we're hearing is Justice Samuel Alito, making a comment, a scenario this could happen. And then the people on top are the people that got arrested yesterday for the scenario he's going to present.
Not subject to any foreign power is pretty straightforward. So let me give you these examples.
Give me an example, Justice
A boy
Alito.
is born here to an Iranian father who has entered the country illegally. That boy is automatically an Iranian national at birth, and he has a duty to provide military service to the Iranian government. Is he not subject to any foreign power?
Not within the meaning of the 1866 Act, Justice Alito. And that's clear from Wong Kim Ark, and it's clear from the debates. What the framers meant by the phrase not subject to any foreign power was referring to the ambassador exception. If it meant what the government contends, basically not a subject of any foreign power, that another country considers you a jus sanguinis citizen, then lawful permanent residents, all foreign nationals.
Well, ordinary public meaning of that would certainly encompass that boy, would it not?
Justice Alito, if you think that the language of the 1866 Act was ambiguous, as Wong Kim Ark says, the shift to the language of the 14th Amendment, which is the operative text, certainly clears up any ambiguity.
Well, what I said about a boy born to an Iranian father is true of children born here to parents who are nationals of other countries. If I'm correct,
China.
It's true to a child who's born here to Russian parents. It's true to a child who's born here to Mexican parents. They're automatically citizens or nationals of those countries and have a duty of military service. It sure seems like that makes them subject to a foreign power.
But again, Justice Alito, that would have meant that the children of Irish, Italian, and other immigrants, which Wong Kim Ark refers to and the framers refer to, would not have been citizens either.
Why?
Because if the only test is whether that US-born child is considered a citizen by another country under their jus sanguinis laws, then no foreign nationals' children would be.
Well, in all of those cases, the parents could be naturalized, and then the children would be derivatively naturalized when the when the parents are naturalized.
We're supposed to overlook that because we don't want people to have that. Anyway, you would just think that the quick retort is, well, that's just a nuanced story. You're just finding, these oddities, and we want to talk about the masses. Well, I think this problem is bigger than we thought. Let me tell you, it gets worse. Last week, I was explaining how, Russia has a series of homes in Canada right across from Maine where they just dump pregnant women. And then as soon as they're close to giving birth, they rush them, smuggle them over the border. Their babies get born in an American hospital. Then they get deported and their kids got an American passport. And through other visa avenues now, they can find ways to stay with their child who is an American citizen. But this mechanism, the process, the system of exploitation, it's bigger. It gets worse than you thought.
No, it's not my baby.
The child growing inside Audra Anderson will be going to parents in China.
Who are the future parents of this child you're carrying right now?
A Chinese gay couple. And they are the most wonderful people that I know.
They are the greatest gay guys ever. I love them. They're so sweet. You should see what they do with their chopsticks.
They are loving and caring. And if I didn't think that, I wouldn't have given them two wonderful children.
They say ni hao so good.
Anderson's surrogate pregnancy is not unusual. A growing number of women in the U.S. are becoming surrogates for wealthy Chinese couples. Agencies like West Coast
Mind you, check out the corner, folks. This was 2015.
Surrogacy in Irvine, California, are seeing a large influx of customers from overseas. In fact, 40% of their clients are from China.
Why would they do
For
that?
one, their child will be a U.S. citizen. I'm sure that has some draw to it.
Maybe a little bit.
你好.
There are other American companies trying to get in on this growing surrogacy industry. Unlike international adoption, there are very few rules governing international surrogacy. Here in a small desert town in Southern California, Audra Anderson says she's already considering carrying a third surrogate child. She can earn from 35.
What? That is crazy. Now it's a booming business. Oh, wait, that was a decade ago. And we're supposed to believe that stopped or didn't snowball? Brad Richardson, China population severely declining, also due to the one-child policies. But that has been done away with, and they're just kind of dealing with the recourses of such a long period of the one-child policy. But Brad Richardson's onto something that's a topic we've kind of had on the back burner and haven't really brought into the show, which is Chinese nationals getting in trouble for keeping and recording true census of how many citizens there truly are. And it's seeming like there may not be as many humans on the planet as we're led to believe. Not to say it's almost, again, not trying to cover it right now because I'm just taking it off the dome, but it was like double us, like 600,000. So, almost cutting their recorded population in half. And of course, those people are either excommunicated or executed. It's crazy, but curious things. You're right, Brad Richardson. Birth rate is a concern for them. I'm sure they're trying to increase the babies. But like the reporter said, we're also supposed to pretend there isn't a little zhuzh of enticement that comes with free American citizenship. You just have to have it in an American womb, and then it's yours.
I mean, look at Italy, for example, man. They had it for years that if you had any Italian descent, you could go through the process and apply for Italian citizenship. People started doing that. They got rid of it.
Perfect point.
I don't know why we don't do it.
Because it's the Trojan horse. We're just trying to kill ourselves from the inside. Overwhelm our infrastructure and go down with the ship. So, keeping along that concept, that wasn't the only exciting thing that came out of this past week.
Wait, real quick, though, Alex, too. I believe the U.S. has a citizen tax. Like, it doesn't matter if you're actually living in the U.S. If you're a citizen, you have to pay your taxes. So that would mean all these kids living in China, in order to keep their U.S. citizenship, would have to pay U.S. taxes.
I bet you there's clauses that excuse in residency absence. I'm sure you're right. The IRS always wants their money, but I bet you it's nominal to a CCP national where the government is invested in you keeping that citizenship. Like, I'm sure it's subsidized by the government that wants you to have that Trojan horse key. Brad Richardson, much like all other metrics, are highly inflated, like viewership engagement across all media is being botted. These numbers no longer really matter because they're all fake. So true. So true. But again, big week this past week. A lot of things to celebrate. I'm sure you all know here in America, the thing that was at the top of everybody's celebration calendar. I mean, it was Independence Day. Doug, this was me, you, this is every American's face as the core celebration of the weekend was Somali Independence Day. This is America. Seriously, cue Childish Gambino. This is America. Don't get me slipping up. This is America. This is America. Keeping on that same thread, because this is America now, we got plenty of opportunities to wipe our rum with him. This isn't a glazing of the the MAGA movement, but it is ironic. Here's a Truth Social post by Donald Trump that came out of this same excitement. Not much context, but here is a kindergarten class in Minnesota. This is your future, Minnesota. Every female with a hijab. This is also a Minnesota. Check this out. Part of that Independence Day celebration, Minnesota Bank put on this performance outside in the park, local park. Somali independence flag, the Somali flag raised. Let me see if you notice anything else. I mean, you'd think in America there might be another flag to balance it. And if you were saying Israel, you'd be right. But no, that's not the flag that comes up here.
Bank flag. Right?
No, it's even worse. They're intentionally flying the American flag upside down. So, yeah, keep bending over for these folks. I'm not even scratching the surface of the Somali daycare fraud stories that came out of this week because we would just exhaust ourselves. But it is noteworthy. We're living at a time where the H-1B visa mortgages, while you, the American taxpayer, are getting denied mortgages, the H-1B visa holders get expedited immediate qualification. And we're going back to the Xbox thing, Doug. We're just booming these H-1B visas, which I thought Trump was going to have our back in turning off that nozzle of, he looked at you on a campaign trail and said they use this as a mechanism of smuggling in excess immigrants. And so what did he do? He just quadrupled the number of H1, all the different visas, but specifically H1Bs. And now this is kind of what we're stuck with. Excess programs that benefit them before you. You're supposed to shut up and enjoy it. Stop noticing, you clown. The upside down flag. Let's get to Chicago. Here is a Chicago mother who testified in front of Congress this past week. Mrs. Gorman testifies before Congress discussing her daughter's trip to Chicago. And it's sad what a modern American mother needs to be thankful for, but we'll get to the whole story.
I also shouldn't say but, because I have to just say, and I understand that you're here for a reason. I don't understand why it's only the Republican side that cares about our American children. And I know that you're a mother. I know that you're a father. I deeply value that. But basically what you just did, what you said was, I'm so sorry for your loss. I have a daughter too. I have a son. I feel your pain. You don't feel my pain. Because
her daughter was killed by an immigrant in Chicago, and they're doing nothing to hold the immigrant accountable.
the next words out of your mouth were, but. There's no but. When your child is in a coffin, there's no but. And I need you to understand that. And if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here. I'm going to buy you a bench. You can put that on the record. I'm going to buy Congress a bench. And they can come and sit and hold my hand and look me in the eye and explain to me why illegal immigrants are more important than my daughter. I really want to know because I don't understand. Please, I welcome you. I will listen. I will listen. I care. I just need you to explain it to me because I don't and I fear I will never understand.
She takes it a step further, really kind of pulling at your heartstrings and hammering the point, holding these clowns accountable.
My daughter to Chicago because
Cha-ching,
I thought
cha-ching,
it
like
was
you
safe.
said.
You hear all the rhetoric in the politics. I sent her there because I thought she was safe. No, she wasn't safe. It never would have even occurred to me that this could have happened. Yes, Mr. Aber talked about, as a parent, you worry. I worry about car accidents. You worry, that they'll drink too much. You never even conceive that she would be murdered, shot in the back of the head by an illegal immigrant on a pier going to see the Northern Lights with her friends. It's not even something you can even conceive. And I just have to say one thing, because it's been plaguing me. And this is how messed up the situation is. This is why I'm sorry. I get so upset when with your butts, and you don't want to talk about this. This is the 4th hearing. Do you know what I'm thankful for? And this is so messed up. I'm going to say I'm thankful after hearing. I didn't even know what an angel family was. Had no idea. Never even heard about it. There's so many out here. You know what I'm thankful for? I'm thankful that my daughter was just shot in the back of the head, not raped, murdered, dismembered, put in a garbage can like Megan Boss with bleach poured on her, and they didn't fight her for 50 days. And you can actually dismiss the angel families. You can say, but you don't want to hear four sessions on angel families. I'm sorry, you need to. You need to. I'm actually thankful that my daughter wasn't raped. How messed up is that? That I'm thankful every day that she was just murdered, not raped and dismembered. Like, think about that. Like, how messed up is that? Do you know what I thought of this morning when I got up? What the joy of, anyone have a baby here? The joy of picking out their first outfit that they're gonna wear on their ride home from the hospital. I had to pick out my daughter's last outfit, and she was a fabulous dresser. We had 100 people come to our home. 100 friends and family came to her home. We had her cremated, actually, after. And they all decorated her urn with rhinestones. All of them put it on there. She is fabulous, even in death. But the first time, all the excitement of having a child and then having people make excuses and buts. I'm sorry. This is unacceptable. There are so many angel families out here. And the day that I have to wake up and be thankful that my daughter was only shot and not raped should tell you something.
Yeah, it tells you the current state of America. It's a darn shame that we're sitting here today, and I think it came up a little quicker than we ever would have expected. But here, as we kind of break it down each week, we've been sounding the alarm of what's been in Europe for a long time, and it's going to be here quick. Well, it's here now. It's testifying under your nose, unreported, and it's just another Tuesday. That's just what we do now. The angel families, I'm sure you've never heard of them, but it's a whole group of forgotten people that try to advocate for themselves in a world that tries to close the door or shade the experiences that they're forced to endure. You don't get to take my taxes and force upon me a social contract and not hold up your end of the bargain because we're too smart, too powerful, too much of a threat to your oligarchic power. That's all this is. Goy slop, the division, racism, all of these things are to weaken the whole populace, because this human hive operating at its best, uncontrollable and a true threat to the Rothschild powers that be. And so this is just one of the many faucets of division they have flooding us on a daily basis. And again, just another Tuesday. Go and ignore it. And when reported to you, and what can I expect you to do? You're getting dumped by all of this around and from every corner. You can only do so much, but you have to be aware. You need to be cognizant, and you can't be quiet about it anymore because it's here. It's living in your living room, and you're paying taxes for it, and you're starving. What are we doing? It's gone beyond they're eating the cats. They're killing our girls. What are we going to do? Come on. Throw on Oliver Tree. There's a new Kanye West album. Plug your ears and move on. What do you got, Doug?
No, the eating the cats thing, that got more national attention than anything else.
Right. Well, because, again, it was a troll making fun of the president. We never got to the core of the issue, which is people had their cats taken by freaks that are not assimilated citizens that are trying to be a part of the whole community. They're their own anarchical community that's going to be a cancer within your society, and you either deal with it and let it suck you dry, or you cut the tumor out. Anywho, it's all fun and games. Mrs. Gorman, did acknowledge one of the things on one of her early comments. She brings up, it's really messed up that it seems Only the Republicans want to talk about this issue that's plaguing my family, my community, and communities across the nation. You know, I'll sit here and say Trump proved that both parties are fingers of the same evil hand, and it's a bipartisan show for one evil entity. That being said, don't become some Nick Fuentes and say the best way to prove it to these bad Republicans is to throw all our chips in the Democrat basket. That's the only way they're going to learn. First off, get off the bipartisan boat. Don't vote for either ever again, and they'll really get the message. Because as long as you keep in that hamster wheel, they don't care who you're picking, Pepsi or Coke. It's still the same crap profiting. That being said, why do we bring it up? Because she makes one good point, and it's that for whatever reason, the Republican Party is the only one that gives it attention. So I use this as a point to remind you, all of this shouldn't mean a shift back to ever considering the worst party of them all, the Democrat Party. I say that because also this week, Congress has been moving the last 2-3 weeks. We've been covering a lot. Another testimony in front of Congress. We had a committee that had the condemnations of cartel trafficking children during Biden's open border through his presidential administration. And I mean, if they care about you and they care about justice, ask yourself why not a single Democrat showed up to this committee hearing.
There's not one single Democrat here today.
Many hands in that pot.
Just goes to show that they only really care about these kids when it fits their agenda. Dr. Saldusky, you are a trained criminologist, is that correct?
Correct.
How long have you been studying criminals, victims in our criminal justice system?
Over 26 years.
You said in your opening statement that you were able to interview a member of the Sinaloa cartel. I believe you said his name was Mr. Flores. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where did you interview Mr. Flores, Doctor?
So, Mr. Flores, I discovered him whenever I was researching his testimony. He's testified before Congress. He's also was a key witness in the leadership of the Sinaloa cartel. That's where the interviews, that's why I initiated the interviews with him, which was over the phone.
Was he in prison?
No.
No, okay. What was his affiliation with the cartels?
He was in charge of distribution of illicit narcotics in the United States.
Okay. You said that he told you about a booklet that the cartel had that listed these kids almost like a Sears catalog with price tags for purchase. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did he say how many kids were in these booklets?
Sounds familiar.
He said many, but he did not provide a number.
Did you say in your opening statement that their prices were higher if they were virgins or of a younger age?
That is correct.
Do you think that maybe some of the testimony like that is why there's no Democrats in this room today?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, there we go. They're all bad guys. I do want to acknowledge another thing that came out of this past week. I'm not even going to say the company, but like Wayfair, another company, online company, got caught trafficking kids where they were selling stuffed animals and, charging them for like $13,000, giving an age, giving a sex, giving a name, describing them as tight. Literally, that's not it. And so now the FBI has gone. No, sorry, I don't want to give the FBI credit. There's investigations. It isn't the FBI.
I like that, though. You just had to make sure.
Yeah, right. No, I want to be clear. The system you trust is failing you. And we're not even at the Tyler Robinson case yet. But circus and bread, keep the fools distracted with circus and bread. Yeah, I made my jokes, but there really was a real true blood Independence Day that the folks were celebrating this weekend. And I hope you enjoyed yours. Doug, did you enjoy your 4th of July?
Food, family, fun. Yeah.
That, you know what? Well said. That sounds like a W. But sometimes that's just for us plebes. It's a circus to keep us distracted. I don't know if you saw, Trump put on the biggest fireworks show in history in D.C.
The biggest fireworks show in history.
The biggest in history. And boy, did he prove he couldn't have been less interested And hey, can you tell us this is more? Can you tell us louder? This is circus and bread for the plebs. He's first off, I love this Getty image. Like, look at that. Fell asleep out. But
he's tweeting about how good the fireworks show is.
I hope so, dang it. While we're all looking this way, look at my show. Don't look at the gas prices. And he couldn't be less interested from his, balcony above the plebs. But that's not the only great show that comes out of the 4th of July. Doug, what we really get excited for on the 4th of July is the hot dog eating contest.
Heck yeah.
Now, in the past, we've reported, I think not even like a month ago, how Joey Chestnut, the hot dog eating contest champion with the world record and all the fame, he always gets himself into trouble. He definitely thinks he's a bigger celebrity. Like, dude, America likes laughing on one day a year about a contest.
Yeah, one day a year,
but
you're a star.
We do not hold hot dog eating contests in high accolades. You are not LeBron. Two different people. But boy, does Joey Chestnut think he is God's gift to the celebrity stardom world. But here is the hot dog eating contest just this past weekend, and a streaker, we call all kind of obstructors streakers anymore. The person kept their clothes on, actually dressed as Darth Vader, but an invader to the hot dog eating contest gets reprimanded and we'll just say withdrawn by Joey Chestnut. Just grabs him. Dang, dude. Mind you, we were just reporting on this guy for getting in a bar fight, thinking he's hotter shit than he really is. I like this. Expose midfield Death Star. I mean,
yeah, I was reading that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, don't even really know what it's for. Failed, I guess.
Your one chance and you didn't have a clear enough message, man.
Right. Successful attempt, failed execution. Joey Chestnut, I mean, way to step up and
America.
keep the piece of the show, but this guy's a bit of a recluse. With that being said, we know what the biggest thing in New York was this weekend. Doug, do you know?
The Taylor Swift wedding in Madison Square Garden.
Our royal wedding, and this is just a moment in history that we wanted to be a part of. It kind of feels like watching your older sister finally get married after she's gone through
it's like an older sister.
Do about everything that she's been through.
I've never seen security like this. I've never seen traffic stop like this. I've never seen crowds accumulate quite quickly like this.
I'm excited just to be in the moment. It feels like this is kind of the center of the world right now.
We're on here for the wedding. We want to watch everything that goes on. It's amazing.
I mean, I want to see the celebrities, honestly.
What do you think about Taylor Swift having her wedding at MSG?
It was weird at first, but I think when you think about it, it's not going to look like a stadium. They're going to do all full transformation, and with the security that they need and all the paparazzi they're trying to get away with, I think that this is probably one of the only places they could do it in New York.
This is going to be growth. We'll follow this for a long, long time and watch them develop and have kids and, and her music, follow her music. It's just fantastic.
I think it just is the next stage. If she's a creative person, of course it'll be shown in her music and in her lyrics. How could it not?
I feel like there's going to be maybe an interim where she kind of has her own life privately, and then maybe in a couple of years we'll get to hear
They're
a record
discussing
about starting
after the wedding before it's even happened.
Family or just living a different chapter.
How long have you been a fan of hers?
Only a couple of years.
I grew up with Taylor. I'm a year older than her, and so I've been a fan of her
you grow
since
up with
2006.
Taylor then?
I have loved Taylor Swift since I was 9-10 years old. Well, I grew up listening to all her music. I've been to multiple concerts. Obviously the Eras tour was great. So this just feels like it's the culmination of a lifelong of storytelling that she's been leading us through.
And yet they're all just piled outside along chain fences. Won't get a glimpse of anybody. everybody.
Nothing.
Like it's the New Year's ball drop.
Or
They're
like
in
it's the Oscars. Like there's not even a red carpet. You're not going to see anything.
Yeah, there's not even a red carpet.
You know, in the same stages as she has just been really fun. And she's just let us into her world, and she's so relatable.
I happened to hear her lyrics by accident, and then
they let you into your world behind a fence.
was reading them, and I went, oh my God. And it sort of hooked me in, and then I heard one after another, and then I got it. And then I realized what a great example she is for kids.
She's been singing about this for 17, 18 years, so it's cool to see her, you know, finally get married. It gives hope to, like, all the single girls that are still out there that she kind of met her partner later in life when she was, you know, ready for that to happen.
Doug, we've literally got girls traveling from Europe to stand outside behind a fence just to be in the city.
About that. Did they come for that, or did they happen to be here for FIFA?
I'm here for Taylor's wedding.
And how far did you travel for that?
Oh, I traveled from Europe to here because I was so excited for this.
When did you book your flight?
Last week, we're last minute flights, like on Friday. I bought the ticket, and on Sunday I was flying to New York. I love Taylor Swift. I saw that she was getting married, and I was so excited to be in the same city as her on the day of her marriage. And being here right now, it's like I have the hope to see her with her white dress right now.
Can I ask you how much the flight was?
It was 700 euros. It's like 800 something dollars. So.
Just to stand outside the wedding.
Yeah.
And not
worth the price?
Yes.
Right, Doug. And you're gonna tell me this is love and not a showman's circus when the officiator was Adam Sandler.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
Well, you gotta be a billionaire to make that happen, dude. To get him out of his basketball shorts. But again, dude, it was a greatest ally when a God's chosen people got a big payday to officiate a Mason wedding. But it was a fun little circus. Doug, I just want to acknowledge, amongst all the crazy clips and things that came out of this, look as they're unpacking MSG and unwinding the wedding. Look at this row of arcade games.
Oh,
They just rented a row of
Smart. They are smart people. See, most people, you have to find a venue for your reception that maybe has some activities for people. They brought in their own day. Never mind, you're in the middle of a basketball arena, like you're standing on a court that an NBA team plays on. Let's bring in arcade games.
Yeah, and 10 of them. I want a whole
Let's
row.
not leave half the hoops up so our guests can play on this NBA court. Nah, we'll bring in arcade games.
Well, you know, you got to transform MSG to my wedding venue. It can't look like I have a basketball venue.
She had to perform. The stage had to be set up. She can't perform without her stage.
Exactly. I will say though, Doug, of all the clips outside the stadium, the winner. I mean, what are people looking for? They're looking for a glimpse of the dress. They're looking for some of the celebrities, get some of the inside scoops. But the real winner is the guy who walks away at the end of the night, catching one of the caterers and getting to have one of Taylor Swift's dessert pastries.
These Swifties could not.
That's why you gotta make friends with
excitement.
everybody. You never know.
up if it was chocolate cake.
When what appeared to be a catering van stopped in front of them as they waited outside Madison Square Garden after Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. The van, marked with the name of a New Jersey bakery distributor, stopped and someone inside held up a box of pastries. A police officer grabbed the box from the van and brought it over to the fans. Several people rushed in, leaving the box empty within seconds.
Within
Chris
seconds.
Rizzi, who shot this video, says he was able to get one of the pastries.
If I was that
He
cop,
told
I'd take
CNN
one.
he was outside MSG from 8 a.m. on Friday until about 4 a.m. on Saturday.
my
Found the
God.
experience, quote, very enjoyable.
We got a Taylor Swift dessert!
I could have bought my own dessert with the amount of time I skipped work.
Yeah. But wait. No one is there for the dessert. They're there to be able to say, I've had Taylor Swift's dessert. But Doug, you caught a little bit of my intentional language there, didn't you? You know, this is a Mason's wedding. We're looking at Illuminati folks. It's just the showman's putting on a charade. How legitimate is this really?
Do we know? Was there even really a wedding? Do we know?
Is it for love?
Is it Facebook official?
Good question. It is. But of all the peculiarities that came out of this, and this should tell you exactly what you're dealing with. This isn't just your favorite celebrities getting married because they love each other. When a high priestess Mason with big knockers like Dolly Parton holds up a devil sign and proclaims she wants your firstborn, stop taking it in jest and finally listen to what's in front of you. Cue creepy Dolly Parton.
Taylor and Travis, it's Dolly. And I was just told that you two are making a donation of $2 million to my imagination library. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm blown away and overjoyed with that gratitude. Now, it's evident that you two have made giving back a key part of your lives. So, hey, when you have your firstborn, can I have it? Because that is going to be one special baby. What? You know, the mission of the Dollywood Foundation is to dream more, care more, learn more, and be more. And thank you again for your very generous gift. And we'll continue that mission, even in bigger ways now with your money. So thank you, and know that I will always love you. Mwah.
I will remind you, it was our show where we reported, you know, kind of the story, the conspiracy theory about how they took Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez's baby, and that's not Selena Gomez anymore because she went after them for her baby. Anyway, that's a whole nother side. I've got so many thoughts, and they're all so schizophrenic once you see something like this. So I think the best person to kind of opine and reflect is friend of the show, big fan, Byron the Magnificent.
Yeah.
Hey, when you have your firstborn, can I?
Oh my God, the timing on this is really just a lot. It's a lot. Because at any other moment had she done it, I'd just be like, I'd write it off, really. But right before you offer to take their firstborn child, she's a demon. She's a fucking demon, and I'm happy.
I feel the pain. I relate more than you realize. Byron just seems to have a way with words, might I add. Doug, what do you think of the Dolly Parton thing? And then we're going to move. I just want to get your thoughts.
Seriously, right to that day, like that's pretty funny. Considering everything people think.
Exactly.
You could have said anything else, and it would have been better.
But even to Byron's point, you could have done anything else with your hands. I'll take your firstborn. I'll take your firstborn. I'll take your firstborn. I'll take your firstborn? That's what you do? I'm going to take your first... Lady. All right. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We're not going to talk about Miley Cyrus, any of that stuff. It gets crazy. Okay. News. Today was the first day of the Tyler Robinson trial, the trial of the alleged shooter in the Charlie Kirk assassination. But we're almost at a year, for about 8-9 months, nothing of the federal official narrative has added up. None of it makes sense. None of it times out. all of it seems to be fabricated. And the beauty is, no matter how much they try to stack the deck against the defense, did you know that the defense for the last 8 months has, which is legally required, mind you, but we're learning that laws are just a suggestion to the Orwellian state. For us, it's law. For them, it's a suggestion. It's law that discovery is owed to both parties. What is discovery? Whether you're the plaintiff, or the plaintiff being the state, or you're the defendant, though the person being prosecuted, so whether you're the prosecution or the defense, both parties are required through discovery the knowledge of all exhibits and evidence that is going to be used against them. Therefore, I cannot offer evidence later in the trial that I did not provide to the other party in discovery. So maybe through the course of our trial, I will discover new evidence. It is my obligation to give it to the other party and allow them time to examine it before we can bring it into trial and actually start discussing it as an actual exhibit. Did you know for the last 8 months, the defense has been blocked out of all, if not 80 to like the vast majority of discovery? More so, to be more specific, the body cam footage and video footage of Tyler Robb. You're not going to provide to me the videos that you plan to use about my literal client, of my client. You're saying it's videos of him, and I'm not allowed to see it. Boy, did I feel worried. You know, we're learning it's pretty easy to buy out this justice system and kind of manipulate outcomes. And I just thought, well, we know how this federal government works. They're going to find a judge that they kind of he owes something to him. And look at how the deck's already being stacked against them, all these rules being twisted and manipulated. They might be cooked. Well, it's only day one, and I got to say, I feel confident. I really thought, Twitter would be, the Zionist bootlickers were going to be totally, totally empowered with these fabricated facts that are introduced as literal reality. But this judge has a lot more integrity than I thought we were going to get. It's pretty awesome. So we're going into the courtroom. I got some stuff for you today. And then there's some facts that I didn't want to bore you with all the videos. So we're just going to talk about it and we're not going to display it. First, let's get into, please indulge with me, the judge's shock. This is the beginning of the case. They're getting into the weeds. They're just starting to parse things apart. And the judge is left in awe when we're about to investigate a case with cameras and all these types of LiDAR, all these tools and mechanisms around, and yet not a single frame video picture of the actual shooting itself. You've got all these videos proclaimed as of having videos of the shooter, not a single video of the shooting itself. Check out the judge's awe.
Is there any footage of the alleged shooting?
There is not, Judge.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Ms. Nestor, given that additional information and anything further from defense?
No, but I think I'd like to be crystal clear. You asked if there's any portion of this video that captures, and I believe you asked of the actual shooting. There's no video of that. There is video, however, and you've heard testimony related to this, where the shooter goes to the top of the low-C building, goes out to the edge of the building, low crawls, and then leaves after what we assume is the shot being fired. That's as close as it gets.
And the court also recognizes Utah Rule of Evidence 1102 as that is the foundation that's being laid for the admission of this exhibit. Having taken in consideration all factors, the court rules that Exhibit 12.4 is admitted into evidence and shall be played in the courtroom and may be broadcast by the media. We can proceed.
Okay. So we're letting some evidence in. That's just kicking things off. So The defense starts off with an objection to, they've got all these kind of grainy, very suggestive videos of Tyler Robinson walking through a parking garage, and they want to suggest that this is clear evidence that he goes from the parking garage to the top of one of the buildings and shoots Charlie Kirk. But these are the videos that they are heavily relying upon, and the defense has an objection.
Objections to its admissibility. This is a compilation video that was put together from a bunch of different sources by the county attorney's office. This individual did not create this compilation, can't testify to the accuracy of the actual materials that it was taken from. And furthermore, Mr. Olson himself is just referred to by Agent Hall. He specifically says people have altered these recordings. They've zoomed in when the actual recording isn't zoomed. They've added little circles to people they want you to pay attention to. They've blurred people's faces out. So, I mean, it's been clearly altered. And it's not, I mean, they admit it's been altered. So we have real concern about authenticity of it. Furthermore, this particular video should be protected. And so that deals with the admissibility factor. As far as the publication factor of it, the video should be classified as protected under UCJA 4-202.02 subsection 5. J is in jelly bean, and then little I and little double I.
Yeah, that's an official military reference. J as in jelly bean.
Because
A as in alpha.
Alpha,
O as in
Tango,
omega.
Tango, Foxtrot.
J as in jelly bean.
This is going to interfere with the defense's ongoing investigation, with Mr. Tyler's ability, I mean, with Mr. Robinson's ability to get a fair trial. This is basically putting together photos that are clear with photos that aren't clear, putting them all together in such a format that it makes the case that it's all one person. It would be extreme.
I just want you to look at this little squirrely character next to her as she's going through this whole, monologue to the judge. There is a key piece that, again, I don't want to litigate this whole thing. We're just going to be highlighting key points and trying to keep you in the fold. But there's so much overwhelming evidence to the contrary against the federal government's narrative. But amongst them, important ones worth highlighting. The trans furry gay partner that Tyler Robinson was sharing an apartment with, that's the character that seems to be the federal op. The person thing, furry, the fur ball was, first off, his whole family is saying, why is nobody investigating this guy? He's a freak that probably definitely did this. Also, there's, and you should look into these facts. There were deliberate messages and timestamps that put the roommate closer to the scene than him. I don't think Tyler Robinson, if I were to paint a scenario here, I don't think the guy's innocent. I just don't think he pulled the trigger. Honestly, I don't think there was a trigger pulled, and we're going to get to the magic bullet, and we're at Kennedy Part 2. We're going to get to that whole chaotic scene. I think they need to make it a shooter because that covers the Zionist microphone that blew up under his shirt. But that's neither here nor there. The bigger picture I'm trying to say is I don't think the guy's innocent. He's just the perfect psyop patsy that they clearly set up. But we continue.
Prejudicial for people that may ultimately serve on this jury to watch this video before this case goes to trial. We don't believe a proper foundation's been laid, which would make it admissible at this point. So the fact that it would be shown to the public would be extremely damaging to the ability to put on a defense at trial. And so we object to its publication both in the courtroom and to the media, Your Honor.
Mr. Sturgill.
Judge, Ms. Nestor is correct. This is a compilation of a series of videos. The videos, as Sergeant Hull has testified, to is a compilation of raw videos that he has received from Utah Valley University. And he has not only seen this video, but he has seen all the raw footage. And by his estimation, or according to his testimony, these are...
Oh, so we get access to the raw footage. We get access to the truth through this conduit of a Fed op. He gets to digest it and tell us, oh, no, this is close to the accurate real video. We don't have the real video. This is a cut up, chopped up, edited version of it. But I'm going to testify to the fact that I saw the real thing and this matches it. Oh, so your access to truth is through this Fed op.
All videos that are accurate and they depict what the raw footage depicts, other than those minor additions. Judge, if you refer to
Yeah,
Mr.
we won't ever have
Wilson's,
the truth for this.
statement, it's
Right.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 12.3. He too has reviewed this video, and he has also identified this video.
I'm fast forwarding a
You have
little bit.
version of this video that does not have alterations such as zooming or circling. My concern is that if the 1102 says what it says about the videos, these were the videos.
Right.
But then it was altered. And typically an exhibit which has been altered, and if it wasn't done by the person who supplied the 1102, that can become problematic.
Yep.
And so do you have a version of this exhibit that does not have the zooming in or the circling? Again, I don't know all the alterations that were made, but that seems to fall outside the 1102 because you don't have a person testifying 1102 saying, I made the alterations.
Right.
And so that's the concern of the state of what Ms. Nestor was talking about as it relates to the state's evidence. I have that concern about those alterations. I don't know when they were made, what they were made, how much was done to manipulate the video. And I say manipulate to not saying it in a nefarious way, but I don't know what the scope of that is and how much it deviates from.
Let's jump to the end.
original form.
It's unusable.
Visual Impulse, who was taking coverage of the event, and they provided
Carol
video
Farnsworth.
to us that they had captured on September 10th of 2025.
And do you know who or how that video was collected from Visual Impulse?
Yeah, Mr. Farnsworth originally provided, I believe, a flash drive to Lieutenant O'Brien with one of the local agencies. And a short time after that, on September 10th, he provided downloadable versions, electronic versions to Agent Mortensen. And an 1102 was collected from him on May 6th of 2026.
There's a big thing there.
So an 1102 was prepared by someone.
That means he transferred it.
Yes, Terrell Farnsworth was the individual that prepared it, and in preparation for this, I spoke to him personally regarding that statement.
And do you know what his association is with Visual Impulse?
I believe he's the owner-operator or the director of the company.
And then who collected that 1102 statement from Mr. Farnsworth?
It was Agent Mortensen who collected it.
Okay, you know that because Agent Mortensen told you, or?
He
something?
provided it to me, and then, as I mentioned, I subsequently spoke to Terrell Farnsworth personally regarding his statement.
The beauty of this back and forth right here. So the judge deemed that video unusable because what they have chopped up versions, zooms in, circles, all these ways of kind of manipulating the jury's interpretation of the evidence without being able to balance it with the actual raw footage. Then the judge and the defense start prying, where's the raw footage? Well, this last clip, and it's a nuanced point to the untrained eye. It goes totally unnoticed. But Andrew Colvett and representatives at TPSA always defended. There is a key moment that you could catch from multiple angles, people in the crowd. All these videos show the TPOSA representative worker, I can't remember his name, leap over the second it happens to Charlie. He leaps over the table right in front of Charlie over to the Charlie's side of the desk or table. does not even look at Charlie, barely considers aid in any way, goes straight for the camera that is behind Charlie's head, immediately disarms it, dips, and takes, I think, at least one more camera's, takes one more camera with him, or at least the SD drive. When pressed by Candace Owens, what were you doing here? Why was the cameras the focus? He wanted to make sure the narrative they're giving us, they're spinning, is that we wanted to make sure that nobody took the SD card, that we needed to preserve the SD card. SD card. Now, keeper of the record, person handling the evidence that managed it, saw the old raw footage, and helped render it into this chopped up, compiled version that the state's trying to use. He said he received a flash drive. So the quote unquote raw footage they were operating off of wasn't even the raw footage from the SD drive. Somebody transferred it from the SD drive to the flash drive. And that chain of custody, take it from a clerk of court who is legally by statute and federally obligated to be the keeper of the record. You must testify to the custody, the chain of custody. And the first and most important link not only is missing, is omitted, but is entirely neglected. We're not even going to acknowledge it. We're just starting from the flash drive. And we're not even thinking or talking about how it got from the SD to the flash drive. And, you know, the devil is in the details. But
that seems like a missing link.
Major missing link. And it's fun to watch a judge take a major portion of the state's case and render it unusable as evidence. But that's just kind of the beginning of the whole thing. Amongst the oddities, Doug, especially in Tyler Robinson's defense, one thing that shakes the narrative to its core and really, I think, shatters any foundation they could possibly have. They've built an entire reality around these Discord chats that way back in the day, going back to September, Candace and the investigators, the core feeling was that, like, this feels like it was written by AI or a Fed, just whole words. I'm headed to my vehicle now. But then it seems like Tyler Robinson was more of a militarized type kid, and that these were, I'm trying to play devil's advocate. There was some evidence that this could be a way he normally spoke, but something that shatters or puts a hole in this Discord reality, because the Discord is the backbone of this whole narrative, because he just spills his beans to the trans furry friend where it's like, I love you and I did it. I showed that fascist. I did the dang thing. Well, somehow the state is going to have to make it make sense that Tyler Robinson, so we found out, there was the narrative they sold us, but now they have to ground it in the real paperwork, the actual truth. Turns out that Tyler Robinson was in custody by 6:25 p.m. And somehow that doesn't explain two of the core Discord messages that came in at 7:57 p.m. and 8:57 p.m. So again, let's kick it off to Baron Coleman, who I think really highlights the issue this raises.
It's just a nonsensical position, guys. It doesn't make sense. Logically, it doesn't make sense. Rationally, it doesn't make sense. And it's vitally important to the case for two reasons. Reason number one, it exposes a multi-agency cover-up that involves the FBI, the Utah State Bureau of Investigation, the sheriff in Utah County up in Orem and Provo, the sheriff in Washington County, who multiple times has gone on the record saying he did not arrive, whoever is the records custodian in Washington County, who fiddled around with the tapes and wouldn't give them over to News 2? Like, you're talking about a multi-agency cover-up, potentially the prosecutors, if they try to go forward with this nonsense. That's a bad deal. So that's number one, a multi-agency cover-up. It's a big deal. Number two, it exposes the Fed sloppers. It shows you they're dishonest actors, that they can look at the totality of the body of the evidence and say, yeah, but the only interpretation that supports my position is that Tyler Robinson, 20 hours after leaving his parents, 20 hours after being without a cell phone, 20 hours after not knowing what his parents were doing, 20 hours after not knowing if his parents got in touch with an attorney, 20 hours later is still thinking, well, I think my parents are trying to get in touch with them, but somehow I've divined. You know, in the jail, we have these, these steel toilets, right? Steel toilets just out in the middle of the room. I use it like a crystal ball. I know my parents haven't gotten in touch with Doug Terry yet. I've been looking into the toilet water. I was in there dropping tea leaves into the toilet water and reading the tea leaves. I know for a fact they have not gotten in touch with Doug Terry yet. But Tyler, you haven't talked to them in 20 hours. You haven't talked to them all day Friday. Maybe Doug Terry's sitting out in the waiting room. Well, I looked at the toilet. I saw the floater in there, and I saw the way it was spinning, and that told me that Doug Terry had not yet been contacted, and his office was closed for the night. He's probably one of those lawyers that does the rare Saturday morning office openings, I guess. I don't know. It's a Fed slop problem. And this is a huge part of this case is you have lying sacks of bull butter on the other side. I don't want to name them by name, but you know who they all are. And they sit on the other side and they come through on their little white knights, on their little midget horses, and they do everything they can to support the Fed slop narrative because they know deep down the Fed slop narrative has fallen apart. It's absolutely crumbling. It's dying every single day. Can you be Mirandized more than once? Sure. But if you were Mirandized a second time, would you say all that? If that was the second time you were Mirandized, would you be like, I would like an attorney named Doug Terry from around here. I think my parents are trying to get in touch with him. No, you'd say, I still am not going to answer your questions.
You know, it's just.
I mean, I'd probably ask for my attorney specifically if I actually had one.
I would. I agree. I think the bigger point that needs to be made is what it says when there's such a hole in this chain of custody.
My
for
thought
key
too
evidence.
is you've had to have been in trouble if you already know what attorney you're calling by name. That's my thought, because I'd have to look into a criminal defense attorney.
Right.
That's not something us normal people usually just have on speed dial unless you have a friend or family member.
A kid in their mid-20s does not have an attorney.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Most don't. No, you're 100% right. You know, as I'm sitting here, I'm listening, you know, I'm back in the weeds of it. I'm seeing all the talk about this, and I've got a million miles a minute, all this evidence going through my head of like, but I'm not here to litigate the whole case for you. You know, like the dogs sniffing out the gun. These bomb dogs can find a little dot of Sharpie on a pin that they throw on a beach, but somehow they couldn't smell used gunpowder in a gun. So many little peculiarities. I don't want to relitigate the case. So just highlighting some of the craziness again that came out of this week or just today's day of hearing. Last piece. They fought over evidence. A lot of it was rendered unusable. This part of the narrative will remain and is a key piece. They needed to be a gunshot from across the courtyard there because they need to close the door to it possibly being the Zionist roadcaster mic in his lapel or under his shirt. That being said, making a non-reality feel true, just like the Kennedy scenario where none of this shit added up and we need to start fabricating a reality. We're back to Magic Bullet 2.0. And I got to say, when you start like breaking down the narrative here, they want you to know that because bullets are not God's chosen people's space lasers, it's actually quite simple for them to come in at a downward angle, strike in the lower right throat, and then turn upwards to strike the C2 vertebrae, then turn again to travel directly down into the heart to stop the heart. This is just standard terminal ballistics. And if you don't understand that, it's probably because you're a peasant that works a normal job.
It was just another magic
must
bullet.
hate the
I mean,
juice.
they're not magic anymore. It's just all by design. You
Right?
know?
Right. In what world is that a travel, a natural trajectory of a bullet? And, you know, there's so many of these. If you start putting them together and thinking, you become anti-Semitic. It's just a whole problem. Kind of want to close the whole topic out though with a tweet that came from Candace Owens today. We're not hearing much from her as the trial kicks off. You would, as I said, she's controlled opposition. She's a psyop too. As much as we want to wish we had somebody on our side fighting for good alongside us, the reality is she's just controlled opposition. She gave you just enough information over the course of these last 8-9 months to keep your confidence, but never enough to actually do something about it. She had so much at the beginning and kept flirting and promising that I'm going to put together a timeline of events, my timeline of events that shows full contradiction to the Fed slop they're trying to feed us, but then on the inverse shows you what the true narrative is. And we never got it. For 8-9 months, she just kept talking about it. Well, put this on my timeline, and this lines up with this, and we never got it. So again, just pointing out the little things that we should all kind of keep in mind. But some words coming from Candace, a friend of Charlie, and seemingly the only person fighting for real justice for him. Definitely not his wife. Today, the Tyler Robinson Show trial begins. Evidence like text message confessions will be allowed in the courtroom, despite the fact that Tyler's defense has not been allowed to vet those messages to determine if they were doctored or who actually sent them. Remember, the FBI and ATF was not forced to turn over key evidence despite multiple discovery requests because the judge has ruled it's not necessary at this stage. Key witness testimonies from Lance Twiggs, the gay furry friend, will be played, but Lance Twiggs is not allowed to be cross-examined because the judge has ruled it's not necessary at this stage. Fed protection. Today is about emotion. You will hear the Fed's narrative absent any ability for the defense to meaningfully dispute it. What you can expect, aside from Erica's tears, are an orbit of her payrolled influencers trying to convince you that the unvetted evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. Sit back and watch the predictable show. The real trial will come later. Charlie's army is growing. Ultimately, truth will win. And so that being said, I got to say,
had a comment down there.
I do kind of disagree with Brad Richardson. He's taken the position we won't ever hear the truth of this. I'm sorry. I think we will. Just like Epstein. We may only get it at the age of 65, and the people that were responsible will be long gone. But I do think we will get it eventually. Allegedly. All this allegedly.
Do you believe we'll ever get the true truth of JFK?
I think we did, dude. I mean, they Trump goes, I'm going to redact that thing for you. And he redacted it, released it to the public, and it got no traction because there was only one 3-letter word redacted. Crazy. It was crazy. I mean, you could literally go look it up. There's only one word. The CIA kept saying it's these guys. It's these guys. And we're not allowed to say their name anymore in a free country. It's the only thing we're not free to do. They own us, daddy. So, anything else? The Candace tweet? Now let's get to a little bit of a transition, keeping on the same vein of the Beautiful government. Tucker Carlson podcast. Well, first I want to get to a Thomas Massey tweet. This will kick off the clips that I got for us. Thomas Massey is bringing us the SAVE Act. The irony of Republicans trying to attach the SAVE Act to a bill, NDAA, that betrays our sovereignty. So he's got an act, the SAVE Act, that we'll get to. Different one. The SAVE Act that he's actually getting a lot of traction for. The SAVE Act is exposing all of the congresspersons who have used your tax dollars to pay off sexual assault allegations, exposing the names and identities and amounts of that. The irony of Republicans trying to attach that SAVE Act to a bill, NDAA, that betrays our sovereignty by merging our U.S. military technology and supply lines with a country, God's chosen people, of 10 million people that's been at war with its own citizens for its 78-year existence.
Dude, we already do that.
Who are we saving?
We already do that, man.
What are you talking about?
We develop joint technology with them all the time. They have their own custom version.
No, our agency working with Mossad technology and sharing technology, technological secrets, technology plans, development plans, that's totally different than merging the entire mechanism. Databases, command systems,
dude, they're the
power lines.
Only country in the entire F-35 program that has the access and capability to customize their jets to their own standards. Only country. There are like a dozen countries in this program. They are the only country. We can't even make our own custom adjustments.
So because they have a little bit better technology than us, we should just throw away our entire sovereignty and become their but just become them.
Technically, the F-35 code is like one of our top secret information. They already have access to that, so this has already been done, in my opinion.
I disagree. We were getting close to the line, but this is crossing it. My position is going to very much lay in tandem with Dennis Kucinich. Never thought I'd say that, but he was in an interview. He was in an interview here with Tucker Carlson, and he's trying his best to sound the alarms of how Congress betrayed us and how we're watching our sovereignty being attacked.
Wait a minute, this is interesting. There are people who are now talking about, well, you know, we're gonna. Well, wait a minute. This is interesting. There are people who are now talking about, well, you know, we're gonna cut. We won't give Israel any military funding. They don't need any military funding. They're in the inside now. They can direct the expenditures of over $1 trillion. What do they need a tip of $4 billion for when they can have influence over 1.5 trillion? Watch that. You'll encounter people who will tell you, "Oh, we're going to eliminate the military spending to Israel." Really? And you're going to bring them into the decision-making position in the Department of Defense for the most sophisticated spending that exists for the future national security and future defense of the United States of America.
Because we know the DOD.
Just let him finish. Go ahead.
Well, no, we know the DOD spends all their money correctly, right? Like there's no wasted expenditures there. It's not like we can account for every penny we spent over the last 20-year war, right? You know, we've got it. We're keeping track. Nothing to worry about.
Well, and because there's money laundering doesn't mean you need to continue to let it happen.
I know, but he's like, yeah, what do they need the tip for? It's like, dude, dead on. DOD, sophisticated spending, but they can't keep track of anything.
Right, and again, that's kind of the foundation to the bigger point, which is you're sitting here going, well, I thought it was already, I've already counted it as done. We're already cooked. The chicken is done. Put a fork in it. We're done. And
no,
that's the front part of this position. But Dennis Kucinich also hammers home, regardless of whether or not that's fact, regardless of how concrete we are in this position of being screwed, that shouldn't disarm or demotivate others or us from being compelled to do something about it or stand up against it.
You know, again, what could go wrong? the United States must remain sovereign. We must not in any way cede this
Definitely a must.
idea of Israel being integrated, the militaries of the U.S. and Israel being integrated. The other thing is, it's unconstitutional. I mean, really, they bypassed the treaty mechanism. You know, we joined NATO as a treaty.
Yes.
There's no treaty here. It's just in legislation. This should be going to the Senate, at least, for approval. Not so, just to put in legislation, make it happen. And also, people, you know, the president's the commander-in-chief of U.S. armed forces, each of whom take an oath to defend the Constitution. First of all, Israel doesn't have a constitution. Secondly, they're not taking any oath to the United States of America to protect our interests. So what is this about? Why are we becoming more vulnerable to a nation whose military values are so distinct from ours?
So distinct from ours. What do you got, Doug?
Well, he mentions how they're just doing legislation that should go to the Senate. It's like, well, yeah, treaty should go to the Senate, but the Senate is still going to have to vote on this legislation. So hopefully they take up their lawful constitutional duty and have something to say about that, because they will have to vote on this legislation. Now it's going to be, but it's different than a treaty, but they will still have to vote on it.
That's true. Well, and I hope we hold that line, but who knows what comes through executive order or, but again, you're seeing every Republican must follow in line or their seat will be removed through Israeli money. So the entire Republican Party is compromised. It is a singular unit that votes as one or cuts out the, I mean, the fact that Thomas Massie is looked at as a Democrat for voting against Republicans and only voted against Trump 3% of his votes. I mean, that's a defining statement, I think. You know, Brad Richardson, we keep giving countries money to rebuild, to be stronger, produce weapons. So we have a reason to build new stuff. Sure. And, you know, we also give Al-Qaeda and
Mujahideen,
right, and ISIS and all these other terrorist organizations millions of dollars a week. So that way we have an excuse to stay at war. So because we give the money doesn't mean we need to keep giving the money. Might I remind people that Michigan still has poisonous water. So remember what got this presidency elected to begin with, which is the concern for domestic issues first, because they've gotten, I don't know, so out of hand that maybe we should stop worrying about dealing out the dollar bills, because the dollar is also becoming less and less valuable as we speak, dealing out the dollar bills elsewhere and maybe internalizing our resources and wealth. So the American can feel a little bit of that. We're producing the resources and wealth. Maybe for one decade, we can feel it instead of always dishing it out to be other people's teat to latch on. Maybe we just feed ourselves for even just like 1 year, one presidency. Is that asking too much?
Let's think about it like an airline. Let's put our mask on first before helping others.
Yeah. Perfectly said. That's perfectly said. And I'm going to take that opportunity to stay on this same track, but just pivot a little bit. Other news that came out of today, it's got Twitter shaking and quaking and everybody seeing it. First reported by the evil lady lizard Laura Loomer. New high-level source close to the White House tells me Mitch McConnell is officially brain dead. He's not coming back. Follows up, Mitch McConnell is being kept alive, quote unquote, by life support machines. But my White House source told me McConnell is in organ failure. And as I reported, the source told me he is allegedly being declared a vegetable. Ooh,
I don't think that's
brain
a
dead.
legal, that can't be
no.
a legal definition.
No, it's definitely something a lizard freak got in a tweet or in a text, and she put it in a tweet. But I only take that pivot because, you know, while they're trying to piggyback the SAVE Act in with this military joiner with Israel, all this chaos, and Massey's SAVE Act is getting traction. Now we're going to get disclosure. but we need all Republicans on deck. And when we hear an opportunity or a situation where or a potential for a Republican shakeup or even just some momentum behind the SAVE Act, don't kid yourself. He's getting up for that,
baby. That was AI, right?
Yes.
I love AI.
I couldn't resist.
I love it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That was really good.
That'll wake him up. We need a vote, Mitch. Get in here. Maskey's getting some weight. But covering kind of the situation here because it's gross. I mean, it's one of those, I'm disappointed that you've got me in a position where I had to be critical of this guy. You know, he needed to be removed a long time ago. And that's kind of been the spirit of what we've been talking about here on the show for a while. But we need to talk a little bit about the McConnell-China timeline. 3 decades of compromise, 1 cardiac arrest, and a wife who flew to Beijing while he was getting CPR, and the media won't even ask why. 30 years, $500 million in CCP dependent contracts, a $25 million gift, a Senate office run by unelected staffers, and when the 84-year-old flatlines, his wife's first move is a strategic sit down with the Chinese vice president. The question isn't whether Mitch McConnell was compromised. The question is whether there was ever a single day in his entire Senate career he wasn't. Below, we're going to talk a little bit about this timeline. Elaine Cho's father, James Cho, grew up in Jiang Zemin, the man who became president of China and general secretary of the CCP. They attended navigation school together in Shanghai. This isn't some distant acquaintance. James Cho met with Xing at least 6 times after Xing rose to power, including inside the CCP's secretive leadership compound in Beijing in August 1989, mere months after Tiananmen Square. The Chow family shipping empire, Foremost Group, doesn't just do business in China, it's built on Chinese state contracts. So Angela Cho, Elaine's sister, so Elaine is his wife, and the Foremost CEO, sat on the board of the China State Shipbuilding Corporation, the entity that builds warships for the People's Liberation Army Navy. In 2017 alone, Foremost signed contracts with CSSC subsidiaries for 6 massive bulk cargo ships, deals valued at roughly $500 million. The signing ceremony for one deal included a Consul General of China and representatives at Foremost New York's office. James Cho was publicly celebrated by Chinese state media and a known CCP United Front organization as a vanguard of China-U.S. exchanges. So let's just take one little look here at the money trail. In 2008, James Cho gave Mitch and Elaine a gift valued at between $5 million and $25 million. Overnight, McConnell vaulted into the ranks of the richest senators. As Peter Schweizer documented in Red Handed, this wasn't just generosity, it was financial fusion. The Foremost Group's entire business model depends on CCP goodwill. If Beijing decided to pull the plug on contracts, the Cho family fortune and McConnell's, by extension, would evaporate. That's not influence, that's leverage. Plus, 13 members of the extended Cho family have funneled over $1 million into McConnell's campaigns and leadership PACs since 1989, starting before he even married Elaine. In 2017, there was a scandal everyone forgot. Elaine Cho became Trump's transportation secretary. She conducted a private photo session with her father and Foremost Group employees inside the Department of Transportation headquarters with Chinese media present. She attended a Foremost contract signing ceremony with Japan's Sumitomo Group, a company subject to DOT oversight. Senior DOT aides arranged an off-limits VIP tour of the U.S. Capitol for Chinese Communist Party officials from the home region of Cho's mother, coordinating directly with McConnell's Senate staff. She had to cancel a planned China trip after U.S. embassy officials in Beijing raised ethical concerns about her plan to bring family members from the shipping company to official events. June 2026. This is the timeline that screams new. Now, let's connect the history to the current crisis. Taking a look at this kind of timeline here, let it sink in. Your husband of 30 years suffers cardiac arrest, CPR on the floor of his home, and 3 days later, you're in Beijing meeting with the CCP Vice President Hang Zheng, discussing strategic stability in U.S.-China relations. That's not a wife visiting family. That's a handler checking in. The Office of McConnell as continuity of operations, his staff, Josh Holmes, Shannon Saylor, Don Stewart, run a shadow operation maintaining the institutionalist uniparty firewall against Trump's populist agenda. But the Cho CCP dimension adds a dark layer. The people running McConnell aren't protecting the streets. They're protecting a 3-decade financial entanglement with the Chinese Communist Party that would make the Burisma Biden connection look like small claims court. So that all being said, does this look like love or does this look like a political arrangement? The man has cardiac arrest, held on life support, and she skips town to China, right to Beijing to speak with political leader, vice president of the CCP.
She had to figure out who she needs to marry next.
I'm laughing because I'm very frustrated by the fact of how right you are, Doug. That's the scary part of your position.
I mean, dude, all this stuff always reminds me of like Americans on FX, you know, about the Russian sleeper cell back in the day. It's like they come, they do what they need to do. They go, they get new orders. They do what they need to do.
I mean, it's true. It is true. But we covered this when it happened, when Mitch McConnell had a little bit of a brain fart when he was in a committee hearing and they had to remove him early. But can we just acknowledge the buffoonery of Trump for not only coming to the defense of this situation, like you're going to make fun of Biden, you're going to make fun of Biden tripping upstairs, but then we have a literal vegetable. You're going to look at the cucumber and say, he's as sharp as a tack. And the only reason he looked foolish is because of the MAGA-hating Democrat that tried to throw him off his tracks. Do you recall that?
Senator McCaskey, to wrap up, thank you all for being here.
So he starts closing it out, and the staffer leans in like, yo, we still got a lot more.
Baldwin, Shaheen, and Kennedy still have questions. Wrap up after.
I'm so
Hold here. Yeah. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of time for a second round, so we'll get through everybody. And Senator McCaskey, I appreciate you taking over.
I appreciate you taking over. I'm about to poop my pants. But I bring it up because is this not the most absurd tweet or Truth Social the president could have ever put out? The guy that came up to Mitch McConnell today when McConnell thought the hearing was over and started speaking in his ear for Mitch to belatedly introduce some other people, all Democrats, and by doing so made Mitch look foolish and completely out of it, should be immediately fired. This was a case where Mitch wasn't confused. He just didn't understand why he was being asked to do something when it was too late and people were wrapping up to leave. He wanted to go home. He was about to poop his pants. His name is Robert Karem, and he is a never Trumper and was grandstanding, trying to show how important he was. Karem has tremendous Democrat support, far greater than he should have, and is praised relentlessly by Obama's people. He is probably the reason why Mitch McConnell is stupidly opposed to terminating the filibuster and refuses to help with a 97% issue. The Save America Act, fire the bum. So he's going after a guy's job who's trying to hold decorum and keep the backbone of, I don't know, the systemic process. Because the brain dead vegetable needs to go poop doesn't mean we're done here. But he wanted to go home.
Okay, well, we're paying for that job. Yeah. I want him to do his job, all right?
Exactly. Perfectly said, Doug. And, someone else who said it quite because he is our guy. No. There we go. Let's try this. Boom. Okay. Thomas Massey tweeted, is America ready for my term limit legislation titled 3 Strokes and You're Out?
I like it on many levels.
On many levels. But I'm going to kick it here to MTG. We're looking at Marjorie Taylor Greene, who kind of gives some insight as to why we've got these archaic Keeper of the Crypts corpses in Congress and why these boomer maxing brain dead buffoons won't leave Congress.
Know why they want to die in office? I'll tell you why. When they've been there for 30 to 40 years, that literally becomes their life. And
That's so sad.
It's horrible. It's a miserable existence. So imagine yourself being 80 years old and your staff is your caretakers. They take you to the doctor. They pick up your drop off and pick up your dry cleaning. They help you get your groceries. They wheel these people around in their damn wheelchairs. I'm not kidding you. They wheel them all over the Capitol, all over the office buildings, to their committee hearings, to the House floor to vote, where once they're in front of the cameras, they stand their decrepit old selves up and they walk into the House floor and they sit in a chair. They put their voting card in the machine and they push green or red based on what their staff tells them to vote. And then they come out and they give their occasional few-minute speech or they read their speech and they read their talking points on their committee hearings. That's what these people are. The very sad, looks very lonely, horrible existence of many of these old members of Congress and senators is you're not seeing an old person that is living out the end of their life, surrounded by their children and their grandchildren and maybe even great-grandchildren. No.
Which is a great point. I come off cold-blooded and cold-hearted when I'm sitting here criticizing McConnell, but really he's forced my hand by not being on a beach somewhere. Dude, you should be poolside, you should be golfing, you should be in your loofah chair in your living room, seeking in the cushions with a bowl of grapes in your lap, relaxing. But instead, you're pretending your brain works and you're dictating my society. Now you're forcing my hand to be commentarily critical.
No, you're seeing these old people wearing their old dumpy suits or they're very, some of these women are like Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi, and some of these women are wearing extremely expensive, beautiful suits, wearing high heels that I don't know how their old feet can possibly walk around in those high heels, but that's how they're spending their days. And they can't let go of the praise, you know what they love more than anything? Oh, let me hold the door for you, Mr. Congressman. Or let me hold it. Yes, your honor here. Oh, it's good to see you again, sir. Come on in. They are addicted to all of that. And so it's why they never give it up. They never give it up. And most of them, after they've been there so long, that's how they earn their paycheck. So what would they replace their paycheck with? And that's really
I don't know, the
it's
government
just
pension.
a horrible, awful reality. But it's a reality that I wish so many times the American people could see that old person being wheeled around by their 25-year-old staffer to go in there and read the words that the other 20-year-olds wrote in their office and vote the way they've told them to vote. You're not being represented. I'm just telling you, you're not being represented.
So, Doug, can you give me any theories as why you would think the federal government or even the Republican Party would be invested in Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Mitch McConnell, and pretending he's still alive well beyond his passing? What would be a political incentive of that?
Because they want the vote.
Well, I agree. They want to save the vote. Can you think of anything else?
Isn't it based on the state? Like if he can't hold office, the governor would appoint someone, correct?
Correct. But there's another angle to this that is scarier to the federal government, the powers that be, and the Zionists that puppeteer the whole thing.
A young person might get elected and
sure. Well, even more dangerous than just any young person. So basically, Mitch McConnell is a vegetable on life support in the hospital right now. And because his wife fled China, there's no one with power of attorney to pull the plug or give up his seat, which is likely by design, because if the seat were vacated before August 3rd, the election would become a special election, which would allow Thomas Massie to run as an independent and potentially win. And the entire Republican Party is going along with this sick charade because they are wholly owned by a foreign country who views Thomas Massie as a serious threat to their power.
I would love for Thomas Massie.
Couldn't you?
He would win that.
How great would that be, dude?
He would
special
win.
election brings him back
into the Senate. Like he would win that in a heartbeat too. Like
Yes!
who are they going to run? Who else could run against him on a special election in short notice that have the type of traction and experience that would get a vote?
Doug,
that dude.
No one.
Yeah.
No one could beat that. I got it. Let's do it.
See, and that's why I said in some states it's the governor will appoint. Like in Ohio, when J.D. Vance took over as president, we appointed. It wasn't a special election. We appointed.
You're right.
That's why I thought maybe it was that. But the special. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Hey, we got something to get excited about. So we're getting to the tail end of our show here. Just a couple final fun segments. But last thing of the politics, Doug, of the things we're getting excited, I wanted to end on something truly exciting. But Thomas Massie isn't our last thing. Our last thing here is Trump accounts. And, you're a bit of a financial expert. You've got a sophisticated education behind you. And so I'm curious, what do you think of these Trump accounts that we've opened up this past week?
But if parents have not done so already, and they are doing so in record numbers, they should go right away to trumpaccounts.gov and sign their child up for a free investment savings account. And again, a lot of people are people that are uninvolved in terms of they don't have the children, but or their children are older, but they're putting millions and millions of dollars into the accounts of poor children, financially poor children. And the parents can't even believe what's happening. So it's an amazing thing. But parents, loved ones, churches, and generous companies and individuals will be able to contribute funds to these accounts to grow throughout the child's life. And again, if we have a good market like we do now, they're going to become actually very rich. They'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think of that. Think of it, a child that has no money can have hundreds of thousands of dollars at a very, very young age. Accounts could grow to be worth numbers.
Dude, look at that freakish lizard over his left shoulder. His right, our left, over his right shoulder. What is that?
That nobody ever thought even possible.
Lizard. I can't remember, but there was something that happened within the last year of that lady really making people skeeve out, where she did something with her eyes. People are like, that lady's a freak. And now I just keep seeing her. This is the Trump account. It's real good. It's going to make your kid rich. And she's just back there like, yeah. it's good for you. Look at those arms. I will say though, Doug, nothing about this guy or his programs excite me. I can't help but just on instinct believe it's just somehow a money laundering scheme. But on the flip side, Social Security I'm paying into and I'm getting screwed. I'm not going to see any of it. So this seems better than Social Security because at least it's an account for you and you're not putting money in for some other grandma that just will have no benefit in your life. At least this is an account that'll follow you.
Well, even if you just open it up with the initial $1,000 for your kid, you set that aside for 18 years, you're going to have more than $1,000 on interest alone. Like you actually don't have to contribute. If you make this a long-term savings account, like, you know, like if you don't have a 529 for college, I mean, just the $1,000 alone, 18 years of interest should give you something.
Fair. Now, through this whole thing, I have two-dimensional attention, and so I couldn't really get into the weeds of the program itself. I was more distracted by the cute little babies that Trump was using as props around the whole thing. And
when the markets open in just a few minutes,
right now.
So Trump accounts will benefit. So ring the bell, Mr. President.
Ring the bell, initiate it. That little baby Marco Rubio in the front. I mean, look at that hair. And then filling behind him, you've got a little white girl clapping the hand of a black boy for him. This is America. This is like so America. Time to clap. I'm telling you to be happy. I know it's good for you. This is good. This is good. I have no idea where I am. Seal clap, baby. And then Marco Rubio's in front of him like, this is good. I'm the showman. I want to be president one day. I'm baby president. I love it. Oh, the lizard lady's back. She don't miss. Doug had to run to the bathroom, so he's missing some of these final punchlines we got here at the end. I'm debating if I shift up the order a little bit. We'll proceed without Doug. We got to close out the episode. We don't got a whole lot left. One of the things that, Will's got a baseball game tonight, and he missed it. He's our big baseball guy. Doug is always wearing Indians gear when we're sitting here. But the new thing at the Indians games now is tarps off. We're just making, male camaraderie. We're making crowds of bros that ripping their shirts off and enjoying the summer days together. And it's becoming like a core experience at these games anymore.
Give it up, dudes. Give it up. That shit ain't catching on. Not catching on. Good try. I don't know if this is going to catch on. Probably just give it a rest. All right. I didn't think it would catch on, but more and more people keep fucking going over there. More and more people keep going over there. Oh, no. I didn't think it was going to catch on, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I cannot believe how many.
It becomes a massive crowd.
Fucking kidding me? All right. I guess I lied. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. I guess I lied. It quickly became a thing. And now this is like the trend at all the Indians games. This is just the thing the guys are doing. Camaraderie. Just boys being boys. Tarps off, baby. But I wanted to kind of highlight some of the excitement at the baseball games because, yes, America is officially out of the FIFA tournament, but the excitement still lingers. This shared moment we've been able to have with a community across the world and kind of host it here in, we've got nothing short of a slew of problems, and yet we can find a true appreciation and love for this place. And it's fun sharing it with folks and them getting to see it for what it truly is. And so it's fun when these worlds collide and you've got America's pastime. I think it was a couple episodes ago, we posed the argument that if the number one sport in America was soccer, we'd be dominating. But there's other sports we put well ahead of that. America's pastime, baseball being one of them. So it's fun when this world of soccer, football, FIFA, bleeds into America's pastime and the worlds collide.
Well, I mentioned it last night, and he confirmed it in the post-game interview.
A Mexico
you play
goal.
with these guys in your video
I
games.
love that. That's the ultimate distraction to the pitcher.
I mean, dude, imagine trying to pitch and
Tucker. Well, I mentioned it last night, and he confirmed it in the post-game interview, which is you play with these guys.
And you know what's funny? There's a pitch count, and two, it's not like golf where there's a dude with his hands up. Everyone be quiet. So it's just like, I love it. It's the ultimate thing because the pitcher has to throw the ball.
Somebody's collecting your baseball card. Somebody wants to be you in their video game.
And people are enjoying it with him.
3-2.
Hey, and then the pitcher locks in. It was hard the first two pitches, but then the pitcher locks in. We had to end with a little bit of levity. So, again, I appreciate everybody that joined us. CB33, Brad Richardson, as always, Valhalla, YouTube, all these other folks in the comments section. The whole purpose of the live show is to get you involved. If we had a little bit more time today, we'd be heading over to the Wheel of Topics. The whole purpose of, going to the website, joining the Neuro Gym, corresponding with us directly is we want you to be a part of the show. Hence the Wheel of Topics, where you can give us some ideas, where you'd like to see a little bit of your voice brought into the show. But that being said, we're here every week, Tuesdays live, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if we made you think, if we made you laugh, the best thing you could do to support what we're doing here is like this show. And because we're here each week, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss us. Between this, our flagship podcast, other shows we're doing, our Sunday live show on a different channel, our Rethink Actions, where wake up, have a cup of coffee with us, and get a little break from the social and political chaos and just have some laughs with us. If you're looking for one central place where you could find all of this, again, that's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. So be sure to head on over there. But guys, like I said, we're here every week and we're doing it for you. So be sure to head on over to the comments because we're reading them and we love bringing your voice into the show. So we appreciate you joining us and we'll catch you next week. Peace.